A noisy sellout of 68,000 in Nashville to see the Titans and the Ravens. Tennessee with 8 consecutive wins, entertaining the team in second place, but Baltimore needs a victory to stay close. They trail by 2.5 games, and what a fascinating matchup we have for you today. It's a power offense against a power defense.
And you know what? The stars are here. No stand-ins today, Dick. Here are the 2 leads. It's Eddie George, who'd like that ball 25 or 30 times today. Ray Lewis, leading the #1 defense in the league, like to smack him about 25 or 30 times. And Trent Dilfer today, Dick, gets his 3rd consecutive start, 3 TDs last week.
And a test for Dilfer will be how will he handle the noise in this stadium. Around the league, they say this is noisiest of all. While ballot count politics captivates the country, the decision to change has been made in Baltimore. A 5-game TD drought shook the Ravens' roost, and a vote for change was cast. Trent Dilfer won the nomination, and he now governs in Baltimore with an enthusiastic eye on the playoffs. Here in Nashville, there's no question regarding the NFL vote of the people. The Tennessee Titans have earned continued full majority support with 8 wins in a row. Opposing parties know it's a tough fight in Tennessee. In a 2-year term, the Titans' home slate is perfect. In Nashville, it's Baltimore and first place Tennessee. They've never lost in this stadium. One of the reasons quarterback Steve McNair, he has 9 touchdown passes, can beat you with his legs as well. He's rushed for over 200 yards. Ready to go on a perfect day for football. Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein.
All right, Jeff Fisher, your club has never lost in Philadelphia. You face the best run defense in the league. How do you keep the streak alive?
You know, 3-4 weeks ago, we had 40 offensive plays. We can't do that. We converted 2 third downs. We've got to keep the football, keep this a close game, make sure we can carry balance in the second half. Our back didn't play in the first week. He's going to play today, and he's ready to play.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot. Guys?
Referring, of course, to Eddie George, who played only early in the first quarter, was injured on his first carry for 4 yards. Corey Harris to return for the Ravens, and Craig Hendrick kicks it off. Harris up to the 8-yard line. Behind the wedge to the 28-yard line, and a tackle from Chris Coleman of the Titans. Trent Dilfer played his college ball at Fresno State. His 3rd start for Tony Banks, who was ineffective in that 5-game drought. No touchdown scored. Dilfer with 3 scores against Cincinnati in the victory last week. Palmer, first-round pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, came to Baltimore this year as an unrestricted free agent. It does get noisy here as Dilfer to pass on first, fumbles the ball as he's hit by Javon Curse, and the Ravens able to fall on the loose football. Oh my, Brian Billick's team almost with a disastrous turnover in the first play from scrimmage.
Well, Dick, Trent looks downfield, doesn't see anything, and then pulls the football back in. You can see right there, he's just holding it. You don't get that long against this pass rush, Trent. There's a limit to how long you can expect to stand in this pocket before either Holmes or Curse gets there. That time, it was the freak.
Curse brilliant last year with 14.5 sacks and 10 forced fumbles. That was his 4th sack, his 2nd fumble forced this year. Fighting the crowd on 2nd and long. Dilfer just does get it away. Knuckleball as he was hit as he delivered the ball, and it's Curse again all over Dilfer. Well, here's the offensive line trying to give their quarterback some time. Jonathan Ogden, the All-Pro with Mulatalo, Mitchell, Flynn, and Swain. Dilfer has with him Jamal Lewis, who's had a couple of big games back-to-back. Ian Badesho, Ismael Johnson outside, and Shannon Sharp, 7-time Pro Bowler, leads in catches with 42.
Brian's got to call some kind of a play, Brian Billick, to give Dilfer a quicker release. I wouldn't go for any kind of a 4-second pattern here.
Four wide receivers. Dilfer down the middle. Incomplete. A leaping try by Jermaine Lewis. And that's been the Titans' pattern. 3 and out in this first quarter.
Well, Tennessee with 2 quick pressures. This time only goes with a 3-man rush, dropping everybody back into zone coverage. It was a good throw by Dilfer. Would have had to be a highlight catch by Lewis to come up with it. But a shaky start offensively for a team that has been shaky offensively.
And the Titans, that's 9 out of 10 games. The first possession of their opponents 3 and out. Kyle Richardson sends it toward Derek Mason, one of the best in the league at the 25. Pinned at the 30 and smothered right there. Good surge led by Brad Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. And Steve McNair on the field now for the Tennessee Titans. His numbers modest at 9 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. He's been sacked only 12 times and always dangerous when he tucks it away. He's rushed for over 200 yards, a 5-yard average. Trying to take his team back to the Super Bowl as the repeat AFC champions, and this franchise guided in his 6th year. Jeff Fisher played his college ball at Southern California. Johnny Robinson, his coach, and very strong influence. From the 32, McNair steps away from pressure, throws to the sidelines, incomplete for Chris Sanders. Closest was Dwayne Starks. For the Titans, they line up this way to start. On the front wall, it's Hopkins and Matthews. Boy, that's a solid left side. Matthews, will he ever get old? Long, Olsen, and Miller completing the front 5 with the great Eddie George. 4 years, over 1,200 each year. Lorenzo Neal's the blocker. Mason and Sanders outside. And Frank Wycheck, the tight end, number 89, leads in catches with 40. And the give to George, his first carry against the top-rated defense in the league. And the Ravens are there to answer, led by Ray Lewis and Sam Adams. And here is that Baltimore defense. They are mean against the run. Burnett, Adams, Siragusa, and McCrary up front. Linebackers, big and fast Boulware, Lewis, and Sharper. And the defensive secondary, Dwayne Starks and McAllister on the outside. All-Pro Rod Woodson and Kim Herring at safety.
And there's Marvin Lewis, their defensive coordinator, giving up only 66 yards a game rushing.
3rd down and 11. And McNair drops the throw. Fires complete. It's to Aaron Kinney, the rookie from Florida, but he's going to be shy of the first down at the 41. Corey Harris, an extra defensive back, in to help out for Baltimore. Boy, is he a target. 6'5" and 272, drafted in the 3rd round.
What is happening to this game? I mean, tight ends are 6'5", 272, and he's got a frame, Dick. I hate to say this, he looks like he could get bigger.
Yeah, he's a growing young man at 272. Jermaine Lewis, the speedster back for Baltimore at the 16, as Craig Hendrick averaging 41 a punt. Delivers from 31, sends it very high, a boomer. Lewis back to his 10-yard line. 15 and tripped up at the 20-yard line by Frank Chamberlain. And with it a timeout. We played nearly 3 minutes. No score. Along the banks of the Cumberland River in downtown Nashville. Welcome back. No score and apparently a penalty. And it just has been clarified during that 2-minute timeout. Ball coming back inside the 30-yard line. Mike Carey is our referee, and he has yet to make an announcement. They just marked off 10 yards to the 25-yard line.
During the kick, there was a personal foul, major face mask on the kicking team, number 50. 15-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
So Terry Killen's guilty, and it's a 15-yard penalty that'll take it to the 26-yard line. So Baltimore should come up with decent field position as Jermaine Lewis able to come all the way up to the 30-yard line. Remember, he fielded the last punt at the 10.
And only made it up to about the 15 or the 16. So you're right, this is going to be a major shift in field position unless Hendrick launches an all-world punt.
Very short and very high, so Lewis will come up and fair catch. at the 37-yard line. So that's an improvement of almost 20 yards because of the penalty. So the defense of the Titans comes on the field, and let's introduce the men in blue for Tennessee. Javon Curse has already made his presence known. Thornton Fisk rather light for inside tackles, and Kenny Holmes has had an outstanding year, leads in sacks. Favors Godfrey, the leading tackler, and Robinson. Walker and Roll, a budding star on the outside. Robertson and Blaine Bishop, three-time Pro Bowler. He's at safety. Two tight ends this time, and that's Shannon Sharp in motion. And Jamal Lewis gets the carry out close to the 40-yard line where Thornton and others make the stop. Go back to the punt and that personal foul penalty for the face mask.
Yeah, you heard Mike Carey talk about. Let's take a look here at the. Right at the bottom of the screen. There it is. Right. See how they're still going on right there. Terry Killen, number 50, is the player that gets the flag. And again, as Dick said, about a 20-yard improvement in Baltimore's field position.
Second down and 8. It's Lewis again, breaking a tackle, gets outside to the 50, and finally out of bounds at the Tennessee 45-yard line. Marcus Robertson bumped him out of bounds as Jamal Lewis with a solid run for first down of 16 yards.
Boy, he gets on around the corner. You can see right there Kenny Holmes upfield. Good hole between guard and center. Puts the fans here in Nashville in an awkward position. Jamal Lewis, a huge star at the University of Tennessee, now back in his home state here. I'm sure a lot of people love this guy, but not when he's here with the Ravens.
He put a big leg straight arm on Marcus Robertson. First down at the Titan 45. Dilfer into the flat. Almost intercepted by Curse. Boy, as he had a big early couple of minutes defensively. He's all over the place.
Well, Javon Curse kind of got called on the carpet a little bit by his coach, Jeff Fisher, 2 weeks ago. Said he's not playing as well as he would like him to play. He's really blocked effectively by Harry Swain, but Javon, instead of continuing to run upfield and take himself out of the play, stopped and did the best thing he could do, which was get up and try to block it.
You asked him if he minded the nickname The Freak.
He said, no, I love it. As a matter of fact, he said, it doesn't bother me, except he said when I'm around women, I have to kind of explain myself.
The give is to Ryan Badejo, and he makes nothing. It stopped cold at the 45 by Randall Godfrey. Back to Curse using his nickname as part of his lexicon. He said, I want to be freaky today.
Well, he said he agreed with Jeff Fisher. He said, you know, I deserved it. I was angry initially when I was criticized by my head coach, but he was right. And I have to give Javon credit for this. He realizes he's coachable and he's young, but he's not one of these guys that thinks he's perfect. He realizes there's a lot about this game that he can still learn.
Priest Holmes now in the backfield for Lewis on 3rd and 11. Blitz. Dilfer has a man wide open, and it's Kadri Ismail for a touchdown. Dilfer and the Ravens strike from 46 yards.
Well, it all started with the fact that Tennessee came on the big blitz, and they're picked up at the line. That's where it starts. Here comes the safety blitz up the middle. And we're starting outside Michael Booker and Perry Phoenix, and they just don't get it done. Booker initially on the corner, Phoenix the safety late coming over to try to pick up Ismail, but outstanding blocking up front by Baltimore, giving Dilfer that look downfield.
Matt Stover for the extra point. He was the Baltimore offense for those 5 straight games. It's 7-0 as Ismail on the receiving end of Dilfer's touchdown pass, 46 yards. This noisy crowd stunned by the strike by Baltimore. Only the 2nd touchdown allowed by the Titans in the first quarter in 10 games. 63 yards in 5 plays, 7-0, and Stover hits this one well. A high spinner to the 5-yard line. Derek Mason leads the leg, and kickoff returns. He's to the 30, one man to beat the kicker. And Stover able to get him out of bounds, but not until the Titans get it to the 42-yard line of Baltimore. That is the 4th return of over 50 yards by Mason this season.
Well, this is a middle return. You can see he starts to the middle, and then when he sees containment is lost by Baltimore, he makes his break to the outside. Mason has such a wonderful feel for the right thing to do. Unfortunately, though, he's still down.
Derek Mason is okay after being tackled by Stover. Looks like Stover hit him in the knee with a helmet. Great field position at the 43 of Baltimore for the Titans, who trail 7-0 early. Eddie George into a cold, hard defense, and then able to spin away for a yard. Dwayne Starks from the secondary to secure the tackle.
How about if we go back and analyze the touchdown? Right down here is Ismail, and here's the line. But right here, safety blitz coming in here. Over here is Perry Phoenix, but there's 2 receivers here, so he's got to shade that side of the field. He has trouble getting back into coverage. And when Dilfer identifies that his best shot is to the left side of the field, it's speed by Ismail, and it's really the fact that Phoenix, all alone in the middle of the field, isn't able to get over the top and support his cornerback, Michael Booker.
Second down and 8, and McNair to George in the flat, and he's tackled at the 34-yard line, and that'll be shy a yard of a first down. Starks and Sharper collaborate on the stop.
Well, this play will be coming right at us. Eddie George, a quality receiver as well, but you notice the way he had to turn his back to take the football, and that's the way, from a defensive standpoint, you want your backs to have to field the football. When their shoulder pads are away from the line of scrimmage, that extra half step to spin all the way around and front up costs them valuable time.
3rd, a long one. Fake to George, might have been a blown play, and McNair goes down as Rob Burnett records what will be ruled a sack. It's his 7.5 now for the veteran from Syracuse. He leads the Ravens.
And I don't think it was a blown play, but I sure don't think Steve McNair, after faking the other way, thought that he was going to come out on some sort of a bootleg, not expecting to see Rob Burnett right in his face. Instead of flattening out and chasing, Burnett did his job, continued upfield and cut it off.
And so Jermaine Lewis drifts back, and here's Hendrick, who has 19 punts inside the 20 this year, just 3 less than the leader, Baltimore's Cal Richardson. Lewis lets it go, and it's going to be covered by the Titans at the 1-yard line. Rodney Thomas, Frank Chamberlain down there to cover it for, and Keith Bullock is the man actually on the ball. The ball was touched, the punt, by the Titans at the 4-yard line, so that's where the Ravens will begin. A 7-0 lead on Trent Dilfer's 46-yard touchdown pass to Kadre Ismail.
Well, can they do something, talking about Tennessee, defensively here, because boy did they ever squander wonderful field position. They had a 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line and forced the punt without even picking up a first down.
But that's what the Ravens defense has done to opponents. You bet, all season long. They're number 1. Dilfer with the noise building. And off to Jamal Lewis, and Lewis plowing his way for about 4 yards. A reminder to log on to NFL.com and vote for the AFC and NFC All-Star teams will play in Honolulu in the 2001 Pro Bowl. Vote now on NFL.com. Beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. What a exciting city this is. Building and building new facilities. The Grand Ole Opry and Vanderbilt University. This fantastic facility. Well, I haven't seen any better than this one. Lewis again, and struggling, but a yard at best against Tennessee defense that has its reason to crow as well.
Dick, we were actually doing the tourist thing yesterday afternoon. We wanted to drive by the Grand Ole Opry, the old Ryman Auditorium, and I swear I could hear Hank Williams and Loretta Lynn and some of the old voices coming out of Patsy Cline coming out of the bricks there. God, that was wonderful.
Ryan Billig, never positive even through that torturous spring where his team just couldn't get in the end zone, and yet was 2-3 in those 5 games. Dilfer underneath, complete to Shannon Sharp, and he has a first down at the 16-yard line. And here's a combination. Dilfer, even though he wasn't playing early in the season, he was always watching Sharp, always questioning Sharp. Why did you make this particular move?
Well, he's just in awe of Shannon's ability to read defenses on the fly and the subtle nuances that really allow a receiver to get open. And Trent Dilfer said, I've never met, never seen, never been around anyone with all of it in one package like Shannon Sharp.
And what a comment. He said he won't get himself open until the quarterback's ready to throw the ball.
And you have to understand the passing game, know how important that is.
Dilfer scrambling, looking, feeds it into the flat, complete to Sharp, and there's a good example. Sharp kind of coasts off into a open area and waits for his quarterback, gives him a chance for the completion.
Well, I know the big strike in this game has been to Kadri Ismail, but the 2 big weapons for Dilfer are Jamal Lewis and Shannon Sharp. Great pass protection, no pass rush at all. And Trent, initially, you'd think he was throwing it away, but the Tennessee defense lost track of Sharp, making himself a target, standing there all alone.
And a first down out at the 34-yard line. Sharp now is only 4 receptions shy of 600 in his outstanding career.
He's still number 2 on the all-time receiving list for tight ends.
Dilfer chased, flags down, and he goes out of bounds at the 32-yard line. The flag thrown at midfield. Jason Fisk, the defensive tackle from Stanford, got the pressure on Dilfer, but illegal contact is the call. Tennessee.
And again, we're witnessing this change in field position.
While the quarterback was still in the pocket, illegal contact by the defense, number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Samari Roll, who leads the Titans with 4 interceptions and has been brilliant this year.
Oh, he is a special cornerback. Here he is right here. That's Ismail in front of him. And you can't, sorry, but you just can't do that. You don't get a free shot on a receiver outside that 5-yard zone. And that gave an automatic first down to Baltimore.
This is the fullback, Femi Ayanbadejo, and he has a couple of yards, doesn't get many chances. That's only his 13th carry of the season.
And when Baltimore runs the ball, whether it's with Ayanbadejo or more often than not with Jamal Lewis, look for it to be to the left side behind Jonathan Ogden, 3-time Pro Bowler, and Edwin Mulatalo, the 6'3", 340-pound left guard. Look at that duo right there. Those are a couple of earth movers, and it is not a real heavy Tennessee defensive line.
Impressive first quarter for the Ravens. Here's 2nd and long, and Jamal Lewis able to get maybe a yard to the 42-yard line where it'll be 3rd down and 7. Eddie Robinson led the defensive charge for Tennessee. Back to that penalty by Roll, Dan. Last week against Pittsburgh, 14 Tennessee penalties, and it almost cost them. They were able to squeak out a narrow victory, 9-7.
And they were fortunate to win the first time they played Baltimore. You know, we talked about they lost Eddie George on the first play, but they were completely dominated statistically by the Ravens and yet eked out a win. Eking out something they've been doing all year.
Well, champion teams do that, don't they? Dilfer fires, and it's caught. Is he in bounds? Yes, Shannon Sharp somehow staying in bounds as it was deflected by Perry Phoenix, and Sharp with concentration able to clutch it before falling into the Tennessee bench.
Boy, how is this for concentration? Take a look, Shannon working the slot there. He's breaking to the sideline. The coverage, hard to have the coverage a whole lot better than that. But he keeps it alive. It comes off his palms, brings it back in with his left hand. Boy, that is just a spectacular catch by Shannon Sharp. Whoa, that's good stuff.
And a first down at the 49-yard line. Ravens leading 7-0 here in the first quarter. Draw play, and it's Jamal Lewis, a former Volunteer star over in Knoxville, to the 46-yard line. Bonnie, what do you have for us?
All right, Dick, well, even though Trent Dilfer's only starting his third game, Shannon Sharp kind of suspected that they'd have a good chemistry because Trent Dilfer, even when he wasn't starting, would always ask Shannon Sharp, why do you run your route this way? What are you thinking when this play is called? And so Shannon said we were completely on the same page when he got called for the start.
Well, Mike Carey signaling a penalty on sportsmanlike conduct against the Ravens here.
That flag thrown in the secondary.
And it came very late.
That'll never bring a pleasant expression from the receiving coach, as you saw from Billick. Carey certainly one of the very brightest of the young referees in the league. Well respected.
He's excellent.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 87 of the offense. 15 yards, still second down.
Kadri Ismail in a little battle in the secondary, apparently. Remember, it was Roll who chucked him and picked up a penalty earlier in this sequence.
And Dick, the penalty actually came about 4 or 5 seconds after the conclusion of the play. A pushing and shoving match about 5 yards away from the ball.
And we expected this game to be very physical. Both sides expressed that.
Look at this. The official on the left side of your screen. Oh, right there. He takes a shot at Marcus Robertson and hits him right in the back of the helmet. The official has already picked up the football and is spotting it. And Kadri Ismail takes a really dumb penalty and costs his team big yardage, 15.
The Ravens with 2:56 left in this opening quarter, leading 7-0 against a Tennessee team trying to extend its unbeaten mark for 2 full seasons. They've won 12 in a row here, 13 if you count that miracle win against Buffalo, the wild card game of the playoffs on their way to the Super Bowl a year ago.
Jeff Fisher very upfront in saying he promotes the crowd noise. The citizens of Nashville and Tennessee very proud of the fact that they make this a very hostile environment. As well they should. They call it a home field advantage for a good reason.
Well, it's a collegiate enthusiasm that the fans bring to this stadium. And the ball now marked at the 39-yard line as Fisher hurrying his defense on the field. Dilfer 2nd and 23. Make that first down 23. First down 23. Lewis, as the Ravens hoping to catch Tennessee looking pass, and he gets about 4 before Eddie Robinson from Alabama State makes the tackle. Spotted at the 41. It's 2nd and 20. Jamal Lewis. Billick said the reason we went for him early, the 5th pick and the first running back, he said he was the fastest of all the backs, and other than Ron Dane, he was the biggest of all the available backs. Fake to Lewis. Dilfer, plenty of time underneath to Ismail, and he's tackled at the Tennessee 49, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10. Randall Godfrey with a stop.
And a good pattern and a good throw by Dilfer and a smart call. Just pick you don't need to pick up all 23 yards in one play. Now you get yourself back to something reasonable. 3rd and about 10 or 11. So that's at least now you have a manageable try at picking up the first down.
Through the eyes of the Tennessee coach Jeff Fisher on the sidelines. It is 3rd and 11. That's Sharp in motion. Dilfer running for his life and throwing. Is it a catch? Yes, to Brandon Stokely. It was Stokely last week against Cincinnati who caught the touchdown pass 14 yards that finally got the Ravens off the perch. Or schneid, if you will.
Off the perch. Well, how about this for a couple of highlight film catches here? We've seen Shannon Sharp do one on the one sideline, and take a look at that catch right there by Brandon Stokely. How spectacular is that body control with the feet?
Stokely.
He looks like Barishnikov up on his toes on the sideline.
It's his 3rd career catch. The other 2 were for touchdowns. Now Lewis. And Lewis running through tacklers to the 25-yard line and close to another first down. Blaine Bishop able to make the tackle assisted by Marcus Robertson. So the last two lines of defense, those two safety men, get Lewis down.
This is power football by a power running back. Great blocking. He's not even challenged until he's about 7 or 8 yards down the field. But look how he finishes. You notice the Tennessee players are on their back and Lewis is on top of them. Talk to defensive players around the league and they say it is a rarity when Jamal Lewis carries the football and at the end of a play he is the one being driven back. You don't see that very often. This guy is power with a capital P.
We're going to measure for the first down. Further on Lewis to underline his importance to the Ravens. It'll be second and inches. His 639 yards rushing is the second best for any rookie running back in the league this year. Mike Anderson at Denver, a few yards more at 679. But he has been getting better every week.
And
the
reason is, Dick, he dislocated his elbow at the very beginning of training camp. He missed all of training camp and really didn't get that work under the hot sun that a rookie needs. So you're right. He's really just now, as you say, hitting his stride.
And you know his adrenaline glands are working today here with coming back to Tennessee. Many of his friends and fans are cheering for him. Second and less than a yard. Lewis toppled at the 23 by Eddie Robinson. It's a first down for Baltimore. Final seconds of this opening quarter. A 46-yard touchdown pass from Trent Dilfer to Qadri Ismail, giving Brian Billick and the Baltimore Ravens the lead. The end of the quarter. It's the Ravens 7 and the Titans nothing. We'll return to the Adelphia Coliseum right after this message. Welcome back. Head coach Brian Billick in his playing days at tight end at BYU in his second season with the Ravens. He's been able to manage through some tough times this season, yet his club playing very well today. They're 6-4, but trailed the Titans by 2.5. After a dominating first quarter, Dilfer to a wide open Patrick Johnson, and Johnson, the speedster outside, has his first catch inside the 15-yard line.
It's hard to have a better first quarter than the Baltimore Ravens have had here. You're on the road, you're playing against the AFC champions, you outduel them, you have 140 yards offense to their 14, 148 now after that play. You keep the ball for almost 11 minutes of the first quarter. Tennessee has a first down on your own 43, and you make them go 3 and out.
And the handoff inside, and plowing ahead is Lewis again. Fisk trips him up. Well, it looks as if that'll be enough for another Baltimore first down.
And the noisiest stadium in the league, maybe, Dick, can't be a whole lot quieter than it is right now.
It's almost unnerving because they were so loud, and then when the Titans have the ball, it becomes so quiet you can't hear yourself think on one end, and the other you can hear them breathe when the Titans have the ball.
And football is such a funny game. What happens if that curse forcing the fumble from Dilfer, if that's recovered by Tennessee?
Here's Lewis dancing and can't break out of the tackle on the corner as Eddie Robinson there to wrap him up. Well, this has been the Achilles heel for Baltimore when they get inside the 20-yard line.
Well, they sure kick a lot of field goals down here. Matt Stover likes it because he gets a lot of action. The guy's already attempted 27 field goals on the year. But the reality is you need touchdowns to win consistently.
And on the road, they have only 3 touchdowns in 18 red zone chances. Dilfer into the flat to Sharp, and he is hit hard by Perry Phoenix and brought down inside the 5 at about the 3-yard line. Another catch for Shannon Sharp.
Well, remember Shannon Sharp, he broke his collarbone last year, then the 5th game ended up on injured reserve for the Denver Broncos. He felt he had so much to prove. Never thought he'd leave Denver, never thought he'd have to go prove himself. That he still had the ability to play this game someplace else. Came into this game with 42 receptions, and I think what Shannon Sharp is proving here in Baltimore, he's cementing his place in Canton, Ohio.
It's Lewis up the middle, and the hole closes, and the flag flies. Henry Ford back in harness for the Titans in on that tackle. Dale Williams, the umpire, makes the call.
Offside. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. Number 90. 5 yards, half the distance to the goal. Remains third down.
So the freak, Javon Curse, caught offside.
Those are cheap yards. That's just a lack of concentration when you line up in the neutral zone. Although I'll tell you something about lining up in the neutral zone. It happens a lot. And a lot of times the officials don't call it. Just like they don't call offensive linemen for getting farther off the ball than they're supposed to in passing situations. There's a lot of leeway given by some officiating crews when it comes to violating that neutral zone.
Half the distance, takes it to almost the 1 yard line, but shy of a first down. As Ian Badejo comes into the lineup. And it's Lewis through a wide open hole and a touchdown. Baltimore jumps out 13-0. And what a tremendous hole for a goal line defense.
And guess where? How about right behind Jonathan Ogden? How about right behind Edwin Mulatalo? And take a look at it right there. And Ben Coates, the tight end of that side. That is a monster hole.
Only the third rushing touchdown for the Ravens all year.
And kudos to Sam Gash, the best blocking fullback this league has seen in the last 10 years. He was in on it too.
Stover tacks on the extra point. A 96-yard drive. 18 plays. Ravens by 14. A textbook drive by the Baltimore Ravens, 96 yards, 18 plays, 2-yard touchdown run by Jamal Lewis, his second touchdown of the season, as Stover kicks it to Derek Mason. He took the last one back 52 yards, 25, Zeke Clever, 35, and finally out of bounds at the 37.5. He was a terrific kick returner at Michigan State, had 4 touchdown returns, and he has really developed in this last year as a big-time threat on punts and kickoffs. Mason.
Let's go to this touchdown by Jamal Lewis. Watch the wipeout to the inside by Mulatalo, to the outside by Ogden, and here comes Sam Gash, and all Jamal Lewis has to do is follow that into the end zone. What a great block by Mulatalo, by Gash, and by Ogden.
Now it's the Titans' turn with George in motion from their own 37. McNair over the middle, complete to Mason, and Mason has a first down at the 49. Tackled by veteran Rod Woodson. The 14-0 deficit staring at Tennessee is their biggest since the Super Bowl when the Rams jumped out 16-0.
Of course, they came back to tie it up at 16 all.
And we're a yard away from an overtime tie. 10-1. That's the first down for Tennessee as you look at
that
ball
time
control.
Of possession.
McNair to throw. Incomplete to the tight end Wycheck. He was covered by Rod Woodson. Well, from the NFL to golf next weekend, Greg Norman, Steve Elkington, joined by a superstar golf lineup including Jack and Arnie. Franklin Templeton Shootout. It all starts at 1 Eastern time Saturday on CBS. Shark baring his teeth there.
Yeah, I guess they're playing down at Doral, I guess. Greg Norman do that course. Jack and Arnie, those names ring a... Are they golfers?
I think so. They're magic. 2nd and 10 from the 49. Screens it to George. Has some blockers. 40 and a first down at the 37-yard line before Kim Herring and Rod Woodson, the safeties, can get him down. 14-yard play.
Well, they run this screen an awful lot, Eddie George. It's the option screen where Steve McNair has the option of going downfield with it. Instead of following his blockers, Eddie George cuts it back against the grain. There's Ray Lewis trying to get on it, and he gets cut to the ground. That's Lorenzo Neal. the fullback for Tennessee, and any play where Ray Lewis ends up on the ground has a chance of succeeding against Baltimore.
McNair fires incomplete behind the intended receiver, Chris Sanders. And that last screen play, veteran Bruce Matthews really tumbled big Tony Siragusa. Bruce Matthews in his 275th NFL game, now 39 years young, his 18th year. Incredibly, just doesn't seem to fail with age.
12 Pro Bowls along the way, and just has, I was talking to Bruce before the game, has no intentions of retiring anytime soon.
2nd and 10. George met the backfield and is dropped for a yard loss, and a flag goes down. Rob Burnett into the backfield early, perhaps too quickly. That's the headlinesman making the call.
Rob Burnett is pleading his case, pointing that it's against Tennessee. Unfortunately, Rob has no vote in this matter. At least not one that's been punched.
It is a face mask against the Ravens.
Face mask on the defense, number 90. Incidental face mask, 5 yards, 2nd down.
All right, that call goes against Rob Burnett. And you see he's got his left hand right there. Rob is saying I had his shoulder pad, and that's what it looked like from that angle. It looked like he had hooked the shoulder pad of Eddie George, not his face mask. Rob, I think you've got a legitimate argument there. It didn't look like he had Eddie George's face mask at all, did it, Dick?
Yeah, left hand was on the jersey. Maybe the right hand scraped the face mask. That's the only other possibility. That's Woodson coming up from safety and on the blitz, and he's wraps up McNair, can't get him down in time, and McNair strong enough to get rid of the ball, save the sack. Whitejack was closest there. Michael McCrary along with Woodson quickly on McNair.
Well, how is it that neither Rob Woodson nor McCrary, neither one gets Steve McNair to the ground before? That's a boy, you get two guys of that caliber on a quarterback. You'd like to think you could keep him from throwing the ball away. McNair just too strong at 225, 230 pounds. He is a real man back in that pocket.
3rd down and 5, 3 wides for the Titans. And that's Whitecheck, the tight end. And the whistle before the play, and delay of game is the call. They didn't beat the clock.
Delay of game, offense, 5 yards, remains 3rd down.
You know,
Dick, up 3rd and 10.
One of the things that comes to mind when I think about Steve McNair getting away from like Rod Woodson coming in there is that Woodson can't go after the quarterback. You used to be able to go after the quarterback 10 years ago. In other words, you'd come in and you'd put a helmet right on him and you'd go for that kill shot and try to knock him. Now, you've got to be so careful in the way you approach the quarterback. You're seeing more and more quarterbacks using their size in getting away because guys got to come in and try to hit him with his shoulder now.
And you can't hit him high and you can't hit him low.
No, you can't. It's really made it easier for the quarterback to stay alive in a situation.
3rd and 10, the slant to Mason. And Mason tripped up at the 15-yard line as Kim Herring saved the touchdown. But the Tennessee Titans, with their best drive of the game, have gone to the Baltimore 15.
How exciting is Derek Mason when he gets a football, whether it's a kick return, a punt return, or taking a reception in the open field. This kid brings an electricity to everything he does. He gets away from Robert Bailey right away. And you're right, Herring's tackle saved the touchdown. But this guy, Derek Mason, watch out for him. He is exciting.
Well, the Titans, his own teammates calling him the most valuable player this season. 1st down from the 15. Flip it in the flat. And George, rudely met at the 15, falls forward for a yard. Ray Lewis made the tackle. He leads the Ravens as he has every year since taking charge out of a 1st-round pick from Miami.
Well, a lot of guys can get to the place where the football is. Not many guys can do that once they get there. Not many guys arrive with a package that's as heavy as that one.
listed at 245. He told us yesterday he's closer to 255. McNair firing complete, but immediately hit is Aaron Kinney, the rookie tight end at the 10-yard line. Let's see where they spot progress. No, they're going to give it down to. It's going to be right at the 10, outside the 10 as Herring made the stop. You know, we're talking about Ray Lewis. He said, you know, defensive, they all have their goals and they're proud of this and that. But he said, what we really are proudest of is the fact no one has rushed for 100 yards against our defense 27 straight games. And there is the reminder, warned by the man trying to do it today, number 27, Eddie George. He has 1 yard rushing so far. McNair, end zone, touchdown, Derek Mason.
And Derek Mason into the stands, doing the Nashville leap. And keep in mind, here's a guy, if it wasn't for injuries to Yancey Thigpen, to Carl Pickens, wasn't even figuring very much into the Tennessee passing attack. And now he has become the go-to guy for this football team.
And didn't he seem to be wide open on every play that entire drive?
He sure did.
63 yards on the drive, 10 yards on the touchdown.
That was a bullet from Steve McNair. That was a beautifully thrown ball.
Extra point by veteran Al Del Greco. And they cut the Baltimore lead in half. 63 yards and 9 plays. It's 14-7. Greg Hemprick kicks it off. Jermaine Lewis deep. And now this is Corey Harris, and Harris is out to the 20 and the 21-yard line. And well covered by Keith Bullock. Top draft pick of the Titans in this past spring. Back in Nashville with the Ravens leading the Titans 14-7. That's a 63-yard scoring drive for Tennessee in 9 plays. Mason with his 4th touchdown catch of the year. Dilfer double clutches and then throws incomplete, and rocked was sharp on a big hit from Blaine Bishop. He's made a career of that.
Well, let's go back and take a look at the touchdown. There's Derek Mason, who primarily in on the slot. Oh, does he put a move on Dwayne McAllister? Chris McAllister, rather. He starts it and then moves, and McAllister is really caught badly. This is a guy who is primarily a slot receiver, Derek Mason, and now working on the outside, has really become adept at getting away from corners. A good look at it right there.
On 2nd and 10, Trent Dilfer. And into the flat, and another drop. This one by Sam Gash, who doesn't get many chances, has only 1 catch all year. Bonnie?
Well, Derek Mason's done a great job filling in for a lot of the injured Tennessee receivers. Jeff Fisher said he's always been potent for us in the slot. Now he's really proven that he can line up outside, and beat the cornerbacks. Plus, you know, he does a decent job on returning, as you've probably seen today. So, all in all, pretty decent guy for Tennessee.
He had only 3 touchdown catches his first 3 years. Now has 4 midpoint of this season. 3rd and 10. Baltimore 5 for 7 on 3rd down conversions in this half. Dilfer down the middle, and another drop, and wide open was Patrick Johnson, and he had the speed to take that one all the way for a touchdown.
Now Patrick Johnson, the fastest of the Baltimore receivers, and just runs a post pattern, and Dilfer delivers a perfect strike. You saw it was tipped right at the last moment.
Perry
Phoenix got a, boy, he altered the ball just enough that Patrick Johnson wasn't able to bring it in. Boy, Perry Phoenix didn't get more than about an inch of an index finger on that ball.
He saved 7 points. No fair catch, and Perush this time is today's star. Billy Davis actually making the hit, and this time Derek Mason denied. With our director Mike Arnold, our producer Lance Barrow, Dick Enberg, Dan Deardorff, Bonnie Bernstein. Welcome back to Nashville. 14-7, the division leading Titans, who have won 8 in a row since their opening loss at Buffalo. And the Ravens dominating on the ground, but McNair's passes moving the Titans quickly to score to cut into that 14-0 lead. Boulware moves up on the line of scrimmage, and here's Eddie George ripping off the biggest gain on the ground thus far for the Titans. He's been held quiet. Sharper and Lewis with a tackle.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen anything from Eddie George. We're looking right through his face mask. Pretty direct play. Listen to the crowd here. They begin to chant Eddie. That's the first hint of daylight that he's seen anywhere in this outstanding Baltimore defense. Again, a reminder, #1 in the NFL overall, #1 against the run.
10 yards now, 3 carries for George. Second and short. McNair, the quickie, complete. And Chris Sanders has the first down across the 45-yard line into the arms of Peter Boulware. Lewis backing him up. Well, Steve McNair, he's really stayed close to home. Grew up in a little town in Mississippi, Mount Olive, less than 1,000 people. We said, how did you get 30 interceptions in high school? He said, well, we only had 22 go out for football. Won the state championship. He was the star on offense, the star on defense. Now owns a 450-acre ranch in Mount Olive.
They said he played in the smallest class in the state, 1A. They went all the way up to 5A. So can you imagine how an athlete like Steve McNair must have dominated at that level? There must have been some kids from a lot of other small high schools going, I don't want any part of this.
Anyway, Alcorn State, he said, was what, less than 4,000 students when he matriculated there, and all the way from Little Mount Olive to #1 draft pick, 3rd pick in '95. Heisman was 3rd in the Heisman Trophy race. 2nd and 9. Scrambles and fires, complete to Wycheck, and his leading receiver Wycheck has his first catch of the day and a first down at the Baltimore 43.
Well, on this drive, we're hearing and seeing a couple people that haven't been involved before. We saw Eddie George break off a big run, and now the leading receiver for this football team, Frank Wycheck, finally getting involved. Starting to the inside. That's called breaking out of a cluster where you had everybody in there side by side. Wycheck just finds a soft spot next to the sideline and really uncontested by the Ravens.
14-7 Baltimore, 5 minutes and change left first half. McNair guns it complete, and Sanders has another first down inside the 30. Former Ohio State star. He played with Eddie George on those great teams of the Buckeyes.
Sam Adams with a big pressure on Steve McNair, and Steve had to throw this back off his heels, but he's so strong. Look how well he's able to deliver this thing to Chris Sanders, right in his face mask. And Sam Adams going to come right up into the middle. But Steve McNair, this is a guy so strong, he doesn't have to stride into the football to put some zip on it 15 or 20 yards downfield.
George's turn. And nothing there. Did he fumble? They're scrambling as if that's a loose ball. And no signal yet from the officials, although the Ravens claim they haven't.
I heard no whistle, though.
Kerry says first down Baltimore. The Ravens recover as Sharper and Burnett made the hit on George. And the Ravens, who have specialized in just this, that's their 14th fumble recovered this year. They lead the NFL.
I think Michael McCrary came up with the football, but it's where they hit Eddie George. There is nothing here. This is at the line of scrimmage. Baltimore wins the battle. Eddie has nowhere to go, doesn't even get back. And yes, the ball was clearly out. You could see it come out before he hits the ground. Looks like Jamie Sharper got his right hand right on the football, and Michael McCrary comes up with it. Boy, just when Tennessee looked like they really had the momentum back in their corner.
And a rare fumble from Eddie George. From the 30, Dilfer to Lewis, Jamal Lewis, and he's ridden down after a gain of a yard or two by Eddie Robinson. Jamal Lewis, a rookie from Tennessee, and CBSSportsline.com. Log on for live updates for each NFL game as it happens. just across the 31-yard line. Here's an update on Lewis. He's carried 13 times this first half for 44 yards. Dilfer, and not close on that strike, intended for Kadri Ismail along the sidelines.
Ball came off of Trent's hand like it had Vaseline on it or something. It was
almost as if he didn't want to throw it.
It didn't look like anybody got a hand on it. At least I couldn't tell from my angle. But that ball, that was a Hoyt Wilhelm toss right there.
Now 3rd down and 9 for the Ravens, who lead 14-7. 6 defensive backs for the Titans. Here comes Curse. They finally block him, and the throw complete over the middle. And it's Patrick Johnson for a first down on the 44 of Baltimore.
Oh, and how effective was Trent Dilfer in moving around and buying himself a little freedom to deliver this football. Coming right across the middle, Patrick Johnson. But this is all Trent Dilfer. This is all Trent Dilfer buying himself some. Javon Curse, you see him working back to the inside. Ooh, and Curse gets hit in the back by his own player when Dilfer stepped around, and Curse is still down on the field back at the 25-yard line. Let's look at it again.
Henry Ford from the backside. That's the kind of hit that rearranges the spine, and knocks the wind out of you.
And Curse's right leg was caught back underneath him in kind of an awkward position when he's hit by Ford. But boy, was that an excellent job, though, of Trent Dilfer of coming out of there.
And Curse, okay. You know, as he trots off, you remarked yesterday as we chatted with this young man, when we finished, we said, as we always do, thanks for coming in, Javon. And he said,
Javon looked at me and said, well, thanks for having me.
And nice to see that. And the coaches were saying that he was saying, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, or no, sir. And they said, you don't have to call us yes or no. He said, but I feel comfortable doing that. My mother taught me that way.
He is a delightful young man who's just blessed with extraordinary athletic ability and a real desire to be better. To me, that's the biggest thing of all. He wants to be better.
From the 44, Lewis finds a hole and slides outside to the 48. A gain of 4. Robinson makes another tackle for the Titans. Well, we're closing in on halftime. 2:48 left before the intermission, and the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Stay tuned. Jim, Mike, Jerry have the scores, the highlights of the early games, plus the latest NFL news coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Ryan Billick replaced Ted Marchibroda as the head man in Baltimore. It's been the Titans here in the second quarter. The Ravens a big first period. Dilfer going down the middle, wide open. Ben Coates, and the veteran tight end has a first down inside the 25-yard line. Coates, who had only 5 catches all season, and he's shaken up on the tackle by Blaine Bishop.
Well, he knew he was going to get hit. He turned all the way around to take in this pass, and Ben Coates was up. Now he's back down. But Trent Dilfer, when you give him that good a look at the field, he will complete passes.
And welcome back, 14-7 Baltimore. We're delighted to be here. You just had the feeling all week long we were going to sit in on a special game today.
Well, because these are 2 solid football teams. And other than that drought, which is extensive for the Ravens, they are a team, I think, that can compete with Tennessee, which a lot of people think is the best team in football. I'll say this, Dick, we've seen them all year. This is a re-energized Baltimore offensive football team.
Trent Dilfer with Coates to the sidelines. Dilfer is crushed for a sack. And that is a coverage sack, as charging in was Keith Embry. He's a great story, a CFL, Arena Football League project, 29 years old. And he gets a piece of the quarterback, Dilfer, who just couldn't find an open receiver.
And Trent was fortunate to hold on to the football, because that was a big shot. And that's a case where Dilfer, I think, maybe trying to do a little too much. It's not there, it's not there, it's not. Get rid of the ball, throw it away.
Second down, it's Lewis. And that didn't fool anyone, as He's stacked up for little or no gain. Eddie Robinson, who's had a bushel basket full of tackles here in this first half, as the first time out is spent by Baltimore. Well, things getting serious now into November in this NFL race to the playoffs. Jim, Mike, and Jerry will bring you up to date the scores, the outstanding plays, the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Upcoming.
You gotta love it. Seriously, this time of year when the races get tight, the games become all that more important.
Weather gets colder. On third down, Dilfer fires short gainer to Shannon Sharp.
And Javon Curse back in the game and back in Trent Dilfer's face.
Whoa, was he ever?
Oh, did you see him leap over that block? I think that was Ian Badejo tries to cut him, and Javon has none of that.
1:06 left before the half. Timeout. Javon Curse, 6'4", 265, 40-inch vertical.
Well, we saw him, Dick, take that devastating shot in the back. Look at him here as he comes up, and he is all over Trent Dilfer. Ian Badejo has got to do a better job of taking his legs out from under him there. Dilfer's lucky he survived that. But Javon Curse, what a hit he took. And to think that he's back in the game that quickly. Boy, this showing a little toughness there.
Here comes Matt Stover to try a long field goal, 50 yards plus. Is it straight? Yes. Is it long? Yes. And Stover has done it again, nearly matching 51-yarder, his longest of this season. He was the man, of course, during that 5 games where they didn't score a touchdown. He scored all 49 points, and because of that, they were 2-3.
Well, Matt Stover really drills that thing in there. Here's a guy that's a Baltimore Raven, but along with Rob Burnett was a Cleveland Brown and made the trip to Baltimore. That puts Matt 26 of 28 on the season. How is that for consistency?
A 45-yard field goal for Matt Stover. And it gives Baltimore the 10-point lead. A minute 4 seconds left before the half. Tennessee did use a timeout. They'll have some time to try to move down and counter. So going back to the Eddie George fumble, that stopped a building drive for Tennessee at the 31-yard line, and then the Ravens take it down and get 3 points out of it.
Tennessee was giving every impression, Dick, that they were on their way to tie it up at 14 all.
Derek Mason comes up to take it at the 16, a very short kick, trying to pin him on the sidelines. Now he cuts back the other way and he's got an open field. He's at the 30, 35, 40. Oh, a marvelous run. How can they not love Derek Mason here in Nashville?
Boy, and you talk about his teammates calling him their most valuable player. No kidding. What a feel he has. A lot of guys can reverse their field, but knowing when to do it and when you got to look at this. He's all the way a yard from going out of bounds, and this play ends up with him going out of bounds on the other side of the field.
Well, sideline to sideline's over 53 yards. He got 31 forward, and
look how he set up his blockers, allowed both of them to pick up a block and give him another 5 or 6 yards.
He's got well in the lead for all-purpose yards in the NFL this year, Derek Mason. All the way out to the 46-yard line with 50 seconds left in this first half. Over the middle, wide check. Tackled at the 46 of Baltimore. A hurry-up offense for McNair. No timeout here, 40-39.
They have 2 timeouts remaining.
Rodney Thomas in the backfield, not Eddie George for the Titans. 30 seconds. McNair underneath to Thomas. Very short game, and they're going to say incomplete. The ball hit the ground as Ray Lewis put the hit on Rodney Thomas. The clock stops 22 seconds and 2 timeouts left for Tennessee.
Boy, what a great battle going on out there between left tackle Brad Hopkins and Michael McCrary. Take a look at this. McCrary gets into Hopkins. Hopkins gets some help back from the inside from Matthews, and then Hopkins goes right after him. That you got to do that with Michael McCrary. He will dig a trench to the quarterback to try to sack him.
Well, that Hopkins confirmed that. He said he's never played against anyone with a motor like McCrary.
No.
He just won't quit.
No, when he's on the ground, you get on top of him because he will get back up.
Third down, about 2.5 for McNair. He airs it out. And a leaping catch by Chris Sanders. And out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Make it the 7. As he outleaps Dwayne Starks with 15 seconds to go.
Chris Sanders at 6'1" has the height. He's to the top of your screen, locked up with Dwayne Starks. Starks knows he has help long, and Kim Herring just doesn't get there in a position to make a play on the football. Starks lets him go because he knows he has help over the top. Kim Herring has to get there. Again, watch McCrary crawl all the way to McNair. Got him by the ankles, but the damage had already been done. Steve had let it go. When you've got double coverage, when you're in cover 2 like that and you've got safety help deep, the safety has to get there in time to make a play on the football.
Now this is big for Tennessee, trailing by 10. They're down on the 8-yard line, 1st and goal. 16 seconds remaining in this first half. And Tennessee now with 1 timeout as they make a correction on the scoreboard. I wondered why Jeff Fisher hadn't used one at midfield. Spread formation. McNair lofts it, and a flag goes down as Yancey Thigpen was the intended receiver, and Chris McAllister.
And McAllister better not touch an official or he's going to take a trip to the showers early.
Illegal contact against McAllister, apparently.
And McAllister was real close to leaving this game.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 21. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
11 seconds left.
Okay, take a look at this right here. Number 82 is Yancey Thigpen. He makes his break back to the outside.
And watch McNair. Sam Adams gets his 330 pounds on him.
All right, let's take a look at Hopkins and McCrary. Oh, and Brad Hopkins has his hands right on the face. Bruce Matthew helping out. That could have been flagged. You're not allowed to hit a guy in the face mask like that. But Chris McAllister with contact with Yancey Thigpen draws the only piece of laundry.
Ball on the 4-yard line, half the distance on the penalty. 1st and goal. McNair fires over the intended receiver Mike Leach's head. Frank Wycheck, both tight ends were in the area. Lionel Dalton and Sam Adams. Good penetration, the 2 tackles inside for Baltimore. Well, 8 seconds.
Yep. The routes that come into mind now are the fade, where you try to just have the guy hit for the back corner and loft up a softball, see if he can jump up and get it, or some type of a pattern where you try to get a rub off. That's also known as a pick, where you end up with a free receiver. A pick, of course, is illegal. A rub off is accidental.
Rodney Thomas and Lorenzo Neal behind McNair. Pumps, fires, and it's a touchdown to Lorenzo Neal. His first of the year.
Well, Lorenzo Neal, that's only his 2nd reception of the year. Not the guy that you're looking for in a clutch situation to be the go-to guy. Lorenzo Neal, a blocking fullback, now gets his moment in the sun.
And how big is that, getting momentum building at the end of the half, going into the locker room?
Well, it helps to really compensate for that Eddie George fumble when it looked like they were going in on the prior possession.
Del Greco now for the extra point to pull the Titans within 3.
Looked like there was contact in there. I don't know who moved, but Rob Burnett looked like he touched somebody.
Burnett right in the middle. He has 8 career blocked kicks. He's very adept at that particular facility.
That's why he slides in from that defensive end position.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 91. Charges in the neutral zone, causing an immediate reaction by an Austin player. That foul will be assessed on the kickoff. The score is good.
He hadn't kicked it yet.
Well, he was saying that can't be a kick. Yes, that can't be a kick. If a guy moved, that's a false start. Even if he was, it's not a false start, but if he moved prior to the snap, the whistles blow. The call was that he was drawn off sides by a neutral zone infraction by the defense. So you have to kick it again. Mike was just teasing us there with that.
And the kick is good by Del Greco. 17-14. McNair getting an early exit from this first half to the locker room. Here's the touchdown pass to Neal.
All right, let's take a look at it from high above in the end zone. Great play action fake. And the block got McCrary out of his face, and it's just running to the pylon by Lorenzo Neal. And again, why this is not when the Ravens were back in their huddle. This is not the guy they're thinking about is going to get the ball.
Not an easy catch for a man who isn't thrown to that often.
No, it's not. Shows a lot of confidence by the Titans and Jeff Fisher in going to Lorenzo Neal in that situation. The last guy that the Baltimore defense was figuring would touch the football.
McNair with a good first half throwing the football. That's his second touchdown pass. 14 for 20 in the half and 157 yards as you see the drive. 54 yards and 5 quick plays. Hendrick to kick it off, and the Ravens come up tight, anticipating that Hendrick might onside, and does. Just whips one down, and there's a fumble recovered quickly by Baltimore at the 38-yard line. Anthony Poindexter, and the muff covered by the Ravens as the first half comes to an end. Bonnie?
All right, Blaine Bishop, your offense has cut Baltimore's lead to 3, but Trent Dilfer's been able to spread the ball around pretty well. How do you cut that down in the second half?
Well, we just got to get off the field on third down. They're doing an excellent job optioning with Shannon Sharp, so we got to do some things to shut him down.
I saw you got popped in the groin in the first quarter. Has that affected you at all?
Not at all. I'm out there playing like I always play.
All right, Blaine, thanks guys.
The 17 points, the most allowed by Tennessee in the first half all season. That's the bad news for Titan fans. The good news is Steve McNair has rallied them with a couple of touchdown passes. It's 17-14. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim, Mike, Jerry, all the scores coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. And welcome back. Both teams back on the field, and the Titans fired up after that touchdown play to Lorenzo Neal in the final 3 seconds of the first half to cut the lead to 17-14. And it really did come down to the one fumble, and the one fumble that almost cost Baltimore the first play of the game.
Yeah, no kidding. And you wonder if how much of a different first half we would have seen when Javon Kearse knocks that ball loose, if in fact Tennessee would have recovered it right there. But instead it was Baltimore that jumped out to the 14-0 lead. And I think that contributed to some of these numbers when you see, take a look at that, 11 rushing yards. Can you imagine that? 11 rushing yards for the Titans and Eddie George. That's a staggeringly low number. Here's how we got to this 17-14 score. It was Baltimore striking first, the 46-yard bomb to Ismail, and then they followed that up, untouched Jamal Lewis into the end zone. But then Tennessee comes back, Derek Mason on the touchdown pass from McNair. Stover contributes a 45-yarder. But then, as Dick mentioned, just at the end of the first half, Lorenzo Neal, the last guy in the world you'd expect to catch a touchdown pass, narrows the Baltimore lead to only 3.
And the kickoff as the Titans get the ball first here in the second half. And the ever dangerous Derek Mason, who played at Michigan State. 20, and finally runs out of room, and a flag goes down at the 25, and another flag follows it.
Flags all over.
Tackle made by Brad Jackson.
Looked like initial reaction was a flag going against Tennessee. Originally, we saw a One of the officials walked up to Mike Carey and pointed the other direction like it was something against the Ravens.
During the return, holding by the return team, number 28. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein.
Ravens coach Brian Billick obviously happy that his team's cashed in on some big downfield chances. Also happy with the way the Ravens have been dealing with the crowd noise. He said a lot of times teams will go to a silent count or hand signals. What we've done is we have a check down system. We'll have 2 plays coming out of the huddle. He said we've checked down to that second play about a dozen times. He said basically we just have to keep things status quo, guys.
All right, thanks, Bonnie. Eric Morris, the rookie from Michigan State, guilty of the hold. So they start inside the 15 to the Titans, and Eddie George, the welcoming committee, greeting him immediately again. And the guy that's been opening the door is Ray Lewis.
Well, this is, you run out of adjectives describing the way Baltimore defends the run. Look at Ray Lewis. See, so much of that is study. Knowing formations, knowing tendencies of your opponent. Ray made the right read, snuck through the hole, unblocked, makes the tackle. He doesn't make the tackle 3 yards down the field. He makes the tackle right at the line of scrimmage and stops Eddie George's forward momentum for absolutely no gain.
He was a Florida high school wrestling champion, state champion, and he really got his man pinned in a hurry on that one. George across the 15, couple of yards before Rod Woodson can come up to support from his safety spot.
It's one of the things, Dick, that all great middle linebackers have is that they're decisive. There's no hesitation. Oh, geez, do I duck under this block? The great ones are decisive. They commit to a course, and then once they commit to that course, boy, they go there like wild guys. And it is fun to watch a middle linebacker play the position the way with the intensity and with the exceptional skill that Ray Lewis does.
Third down and a long 8. McNair looking for Wycheck. There he is, and he's hit immediately at the 20-yard line. Shy of the first down is Chris McAllister with a good low tackle.
Well, McAllister, there's no way that he's going to attack Frank Wycheck up high, and he knows that Wycheck has to turn. He has no chance to look upfield. The second he does, there's McAllister right at the knees. And that is that's the way you got to do it as a corner. You get the big man in your zone, chop him down at the knees.
Jermaine Lewis back at the 37 of Baltimore as Craig Hendrick delivers the punt. Boy, that just sounded good, and it is good. Wow! All the way back to the 15-yard line. To the 20 and to the 26-yard line. Fans wanted a penalty, but the blocker appeared to get in front of the Titan defensive man. A 65-yard punt by Craig Hendrick, his longest of the year. And welcome back to Adelphia Stadium along the banks of the Cumberland River, downtown Nashville. Michael McCrary looking at that left ankle, testing it out.
Well, he's going to get a tighter tape job.
Ravens start from their own 26 after that booming punt by Hendrick. And Jamal Lewis gets just a couple on first down. Next Saturday, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame are here on CBS against Rutgers, and Auburn will play Alabama in an SEC grudge match. It's all next Saturday, the Home Depot College Football. Check your local listing. Spencer Tillman, Tim Brando get it kicked off for you. Second and 9. Lewis again. And he burrows out to the 35, a yard shy of a first down behind the block of Sam Gash.
And it just has to be the forefront of Baltimore's game plan here in the second half to run Jamal Lewis. Again, behind Ogden, behind Mulatalo, behind Jeff Mitchell at center. What a luxury to be able to fall back on a power back when you're trying to play on the road against a tough opponent.
But he comes out on third and a long one. Empty backfield, Dilfer complete. And It's to Jermaine Lewis, the little scat back, the 5'7" Lewis from the University of Maryland. Squirts out to the 47-yard line before Bishop can get him down.
Boy, and that was really a bold look, I thought, by the Ravens, going to a spread formation only on about 3rd and 1.5 and putting your big guy on the sideline. Boy, again, Jermaine Lewis, a lot like Derek Mason, in that he's the most dangerous when he has the ball and a little bit of space. He's the guy that can make a lot of people miss.
First down for Dilfer and Lewis at the 47-yard line. Dilfer 12 for 19 in the game. And a touchdown. Lewis back in, being chased by Curse. Look at Curse. I mean, relentlessly chasing him to the sidelines and almost creating a fumble situation at midfield. Oh, those long arms, his wingspan is some 86 inches. He can put his thumb on one end of the ruler and touch the 12-inch mark with his pinky. He can move too.
Well, keep in mind that, you know, most defensive ends, he fights off the block of Sam Gash. Rather, Javon Curse jumps over, and he jumps over the top of his Embray was the guy. Boy, I'm really doing this pretty well, aren't I? But the fact of the matter is, when Jamal Lewis makes a break to the sideline and he's gotten around a defensive end,
Freaks you out.
he's not expecting to get caught by that defensive end. Boy,
I thought you were going to say you were freaky there for a minute.
put that on the Emmy reel.
2nd and 6. Underneath, complete. And it's Shannon Sharp, a short gainer to the 46-yard line. And for Sharp, that is his 6th catch and 600 in his career.
I think I'll take a couple plays off. Try to regroup. He does defy description sometimes, though, doesn't he? Javon Curse, the things he can do, like a Lawrence Taylor in his ability to come from the backside.
Well, we overuse the word athletic, but boy, he's the epitome. 3rd and 3, underneath, complete, and it'll be another first down, this time to Qadry Ismail, and he's bowled over in pain with a 3rd down catch, and the Ravens have made 8 of 12 3rd down conversions in the game.
And again, we're talking about Trent Dilfer having to throw with the pocket collapsing around him. I think we can. We're right now a little concerned, but again, look at this. Trent Dilfer knows he's getting sandwiched at both sides of it. Ismail has the ball, though, delivered right on the numbers, and he is still down and being attended to by Baltimore's training staff.
Could see anything very violent in the contact there.
No.
Well, look at the concentration of Dilfer under that kind of pressure to deliver the completion.
Ismail just got up and he's making his way over to the Baltimore sideline. A lot of times he'll come down on the football, and sometimes that'll either land in an inappropriate spot or land right in your midsection and knock the wind out of you. Sometimes it's a football that'll do a lot of damage.
Ismail got the Ravens flying early with a 46-yard touchdown catch from Dilfer in the first period. Dilfer, perfect on this drive, has led the Ravens inside the Titan 40-yard line. Priest Holmes now in the backfield, and he gets the call. Here's Holmes, a solid runner himself. He has over 400 yards on the season. So it's 17-14 here. Let's go to New York. All right, Jim, as you heard on NFL Today, Kitten playing for his career in Seattle in this game today. 2nd down, Baltimore, just outside the Tennessee 35. Play action for Dilfer. Incomplete. His receivers well covered. Sharp was the man he wanted to go to. Eddie Robinson from his linebacker spot putting pressure on the quarterback. Tonight on CBS, Time Magazine calls it excellent. USA Today gave it 4 stars. Entertainment Weekly says it's riveting. Don't miss the miniseries O.J. Simpson doesn't want you to see. American Tragedy tonight on CBS. 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. Ravens, who have not been that effective on third down, very good today, and almost a mishap on the exchange between quarterback Dilfer and Ian Badejo.
Somebody was in the wrong place. Either Trent spun the wrong way or Ian Badejo took the wrong steps. But that was fortunate that that wasn't a fumble in the backfield. Ian Badejo, he's hurt. He's got a right toe that's bothering him. Sam Gash has been playing most of the game for Baltimore at the fullback position. And Ian Badejo, who's really had a good early season, has not been a factor here lately.
Yeah, they'll not go for the field goal. As Richardson sends it high, and the fair catch by Mason at the 10-yard line. It would have been about a 53-yard field goal. 7:30 left, third quarter. Baltimore by 3. The Nashville chapter of the Dan Deerdorf fan club out there on the bridge beyond the stands on the far side.
That's actually a smoking section up there. They can see about 5 yards of the field. They can't see this.
George ran the wrong way. Now, if he had gone to the left, they could have at least caught a piece of it.
This is a non-smoking stadium here, Adelphia Coliseum, and so people who need a hit, they got to walk outside and stand on that deck up there. And by my vantage point, I would say that they could see just about this much of the field over. And now that is what I call a limited sight seat.
Selective viewing.
You better get down here in this one corner of the end zone, or they're just not seeing it at all.
Well, Eddie George isn't seeing many holes. He's got 15 yards rushing and 8 carries. He goes in motion now. 2nd and 8. McNair, lots of time. And what a catch! I believe, yes, it is ruled a catch. As Derek Mason bobbling it appeared to hit him on the back. That was remindful of the game Monday night in Green Bay, won in overtime.
Yeah, Antonio Freeman got the bounce on Monday night. This time Eric, really a good ball by Steve McNair. He delivers it right, and look at Mason. Fortunately, no one from Baltimore was close enough to him to disrupt him and staying with the football. But the umpire was right there. He had a really good vantage point, made a good call.
4 catches now, 50 yards for Mason. It's 3rd and a short 3. That appeared to be deflected by Tony Siragusa at the line of scrimmage. Yancey Thigpen was trying to find a crease down the middle.
And that's a series where the Ravens had to play defense without Michael McCrary, their Pro Bowl defensive end. You saw him walking around barefooted over on the sidelines, and he wasn't in on that series. Craig Hendrick, who had a tremendous punt last time, the pride of Alton Marquette High School. Alton, a little river town up north of St. Louis. About as small a school as Steve McNair's.
That last one was a boomer. This one didn't sound quite as clean. A dying spiral. Fair catch, Jermaine Lewis at the 33-yard line of the Ravens. So timeout with 5:52 remaining in the third quarter. Baltimore leads by 3. And welcome back to Nashville, and a look at next week's schedule. Boy, just something about Cajun Creole. Does that ring a bell with you? How about going to New Orleans? We'll be down there, Dan and I, and next Sunday at noon, NFL Today starts with our glorious cast in New York. Play action, first down, Trent Dilfer. And he finds an open man, Ismail, but he can't hold on as Samari Roll in coverage for the Titans.
Boy, that was really effective play action pass by Dilfer. It was a wonderful fake. He bought himself all sorts of time, threw a perfect football. Everything was 100%, all except the fact that Ismail couldn't catch it.
Got the 46-yard touchdown to start, but that one was right there for him. Rolla was in the area, but certainly Ismail will be credited with a drop on that one. 2nd and 10. Out of the backfield is Lewis. Boy, nice move. He is shifty for a man carrying over 230 pounds. And the former Volunteer star back here in Tennessee has a first down before Marcus Robertson can make the tackle near midfield.
Well, the way you describe Jamal Lewis is big man's body, small man's feet. because he's got the ability to stutter step. He's got the ability to make you miss. And of course, it's that power that really, when he does do something shifty like that, throw such a curveball to somebody trying to tackle him, that a lot of times they will just grab air because they got to come in hot. You got to come in hot to tackle this guy.
15 yards on that pass reception to the Baltimore 47. Another play action out of the backfield. Lewis again fumbles the ball, but he had been rolled down at the 49. Make that Sam Gash, who has just come in to relieve Lewis. And Bonnie has this report.
Guys, Ravens running back Femi Ayobandejo missed 3 games with a torn tendon in his big right toe. He's re-injured it. He's got ice on it, and he's out for the game.
So that toe injury continuing to plague the blocking fullback for the Ravens. That's why we'll see more of Gash. Ryan Videjo was the leading receiver the first 4 or 5 games of the season for the Ravens. 2nd and 8. And it's Priest Holmes. And Holmes darting up the middle inside the 45-yard line. A reminder tonight on CBS, if you're worried about the vaccine against measles, mumps, and rubella, and if it's safe for your children, well, you better watch 60 Minutes tonight on CBS.
Not many teams have a depth in the backfield the way the Ravens do, with Priest Holmes and Jamal Lewis as the primary runners, and then Ian Badejo and Sam Gash at the fullback position.
Good job by the Titans all year, 4th in the league defensively, but the Ravens here in the 3rd quarter have already surpassed the average. 3rd down, incomplete, intended for Brandon Stokely. A gutsy play call over the middle for Stokely, and he was knocked away by Blaine Bishop.
Well, Blaine Bishop sees this coming a mile away. Why, he's going to just sit on this. Take a look at him come up in there, and it could have been caught by Stokely, but he knew that Bishop was coming in right behind him. It's one of the things that when Brian Billick talked to Shannon Sharpe about joining this team, he said, can you handle Blaine Bishop?
Fair catch by Derek Mason. Not an easy catch as he collects it at the 14-yard line. Another punt inside the 20 for Kyle Richardson. He leads the league. That's his 24th. Timeout. And welcome back. 3.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. 17-14 Baltimore. Field position in this 2nd half. Titans average start 12-yard line. They're on the 14 this time. Nair ducks away from pressure. Look at this. Very crafty in his move across the 15 and avoided the sack. Let's go for an NFL update to New York and Jim. I like fake kicks about as much as any play in the game.
Joe Avazano strikes again, the longtime special teams coach for the Cowboys.
Yeah, he'll be celebrating tonight.
Stayed up at the chalkboard late this week.
On 2nd down, McNair, and he's going up on top for Mason. Oh my! Just through his fingertips at the Raven 40-yard line. Dwayne Starks on the coverage, and it appeared that McNair-Mason connection was going to deliver a big score.
Well, you wonder if the sun had anything to do with that. Take a look at this. Derek Mason, he's just running a straightaway fly pattern here, working against Starks. Starks actually has very good coverage, and then at the end he kind of loses track of Mason, and Mason gets a little separation, looking right back into the sun, and that ball just goes right through the hands of Mason, who didn't get him closed in time. And I've got to think that the sun had something to do with his inability to get a hold of that ball.
And here in November, the late sun down low. McNair gets it off to George on the screen, and up to make the tackle is Chris McAllister from his corner's back spot, and that denies the first down, and on comes the punting unit again for the Titans.
And that was an excellent illustration of why this defense is the #1 unit in the league. They are good tacklers. You don't see a lot of times where that first guy misses. McAllister, you're getting the handle on this guy. When he comes in, he's a knifer. He comes in and he goes low.
And that was the veteran Rob Burnett, who was on McNair a little quicker than the Tennessee quarterback had thought. Hendrick to Jermaine Lewis. Another high driving kick. Lewis backpedals to the 23. And spins to the 40 and finally tackled at the 44 by Eric Morris. And the fans again thought there was a push in the back by one of the Baltimore Ravens.
And somebody's hurt. One of the Titans is hurt because you see the Baltimore bench waving over to the Tennessee sideline. Get your trainers over here.
It's Michael Booker, defensive back for the Titans.
Boy, and you wonder how badly he's hurt when they all start waving that urgently. Michael Booker is number 33 right here. He's up and walking over toward. Watch his left knee right here. See it flex right there when he lands on it a little awkwardly. Not 100% sure what it is, but this is a good sign. He's actually did a little bit of jogging on his way over here towards the Tennessee sideline. So at least initially it looks like good news for Mr. Booker.
Former #1 pick of the Falcons in '97, acquired after he was released by Atlanta this August.
Once again, great field position for Baltimore.
From the 43, Dilfer has it knocked out of his hands by Curse, and it goes to Baltimore. If they're calling that a fumble, no signal yet. Curse reaching around and batting it out of the quarterback's hands. It was being caromed off several players and finally into the arms of Jamal Lewis.
Well, there was no indication by the officials that this was a forward pass. Again, Trent Dilfer back. He's getting ready to throw, but his arm hit. The ball comes out before he starts his forward motion, and Kenny Holmes, trying to keep that thing alive, bats it right to Lewis.
Becomes a 1-yard loss on the play.
Kenny Holmes trying to get that ball, just 4 different times bounced it to Jamal Lewis.
And Lewis straight ahead. If it gets the yard back, it'll be 3rd and 10. Bonnie?
Well, guys, Javon Curse's sack production is down substantially from the 14.5 he got his rookie year, but he was foaming at the mouth when he found out it was going to be Trent Dilfer, not Tony Banks, playing for the Ravens. He said Tony's a little bit more mobile, but Trent tends to hang on to the ball a little bit more, looking for the open receiver. So that not only gives me more sack opportunities, but more time to try to get some pressure on him, guys.
Made the Pro Bowl as a rookie starter last year. That incredible first season, 14.5 sacks, NFL rookie record. Dilfer underneath, complete, and it's Gash. Sam Gash close to the sticks at the 47-yard line of the Titans, and one of the Baltimore linemen slow getting up, and it's big Jonathan Ogden.
Oh, Jonathan Ogden, who's been nursing a bad ankle on and off all season long. Looked like he'd come all the way through that injury, and now he is walking really tenderly towards the Ravens sideline.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter. Baltimore 17, Tennessee 14. We'll return after this word from your local station. And we're back in Nashville, and the kick by Richardson, fair catch Mason, and again the Titans have to start deep in their own end, this time from the 9-yard line. A 39-yard punt, no return.
Boy, but give a lot of credit to Tennessee's defense. The entire 3rd quarter, the Ravens had outstanding field position and were able to do nothing with it.
And welcome back. Tennessee starts from its 9-yard line. Look at Sam Adams digging in. And the toss to George. And he's able to break a couple of tackles and drive out across the 15-yard line to the 16. A flag down, however.
Boy, another flag down. And Tennessee continues to have problems with penalties. Dick, you talked earlier, what was it, 14?
Last
week, and now a lone bright spot with Eddie George breaking loose for a little yardage, and back it comes.
Holding offense number 72. Half the distance to the goal. Remains 1st down.
Brad Hopkins, who has been working on Michael McCrary most of the game.
And Brad, I think, having a Pro Bowl type year. He's never gone to the Pro Bowl at left tackle, but he was right at the point of attack on that little toss to Eddie George. The play coming in right behind him.
Boy, he's articulate, isn't he?
Oh, He is a credit to himself, to the University of Illinois, and to all offensive linemen.
I knew you'd get that. You can see on the season the rushing offense equal for these two teams, but only 17 yards today as McNair retreats into his own end zone, and he's throwing out to Kenny and almost intercepted, but a flag down. Jamie Sharper, the linebacker, drifting back with Kenny, the tight end, and the flag down.
Boy, it looks like Jamie Sharper's playing the football, but that's what they're going to call interference against Sharper.
Actually got his hands in the ball.
Pass interference. Defense, number 55. Automatic.
Brian Billick can't hardly believe this call. Let's see if we can take a close look at this again. Jamie Sharper there, number 55. Let's watch him as he rolls with Kenny. Oh, I don't see that. I don't see that. Sharper had the position back to the inside. Oh, that is, I think Brian Billick's got a reason to be upset about that.
That's a first down out to the 25-yard line. Fake to George. McNair scrambling. Oh, what a block on Boulware, and McNair slides with a first down at the 38-yard line.
Benji Olsen, the right guard, comes back and he wipes out Peter Boulware. Whoa, there's a timely block. Let's check this out. There's number 75, the right guard. Watch him, he's out of the picture. He's going to get up off the ground. Whack. That's getting up and getting active. And McNair's right there. Look at that shot. Boy, that was, boy, you dream about that as an offensive lineman, getting a clean lick like that out in the open field.
Olsen played with the Huskies of Washington. McNair with the longest run today by the Titans. Now he throws, dropped by Kenny. Tried to catch it and run before it had it collected at the 50-yard line. A reminder, Monday on CBS begins, of course, with an all-new King of Queens starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller. Then it's the hit, Yes Dear. Then don't miss Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond, followed by Becker, stars Ted Danson, and Monday's #1 drama's Family Law with Tony Danza now. It's all Monday nights on CBS. McNair throwing off his back foot for Mason and almost intercepted by Dwayne Starks. And actually Mason played defender against the Raven cornerback.
Well, and I think McNair, he took a chance. This is a jump ball because why? He is falling backwards when he throws that football, but he knows instead of double coverage that he's throwing it into single coverage, and he's counting on Derek Mason to protect him. And that's exactly what Mason has to do right there. He's able to get up into Dwayne Starks and keep him from catching the ball. Starks wanting an offensive interference call, but that was good work by Derek Mason.
Yancey Thigpen comes in as an extra wide receiver on 3rd down. McNair down the middle and complete to Wycheck, and he has a first down at the Baltimore 37.
And now for the entire 3rd quarter, bad field position for Tennessee. And now with a couple big plays, they have erased that. Now they're in Baltimore's side of the field. Big target right here, Frank Wycheck. So adept at working a zone. That's his specialty. And then he holds on to the football, taking a big hit at the end of it. Right over the outstretched fingertips of Ray Lewis. And look at that pop right at the end from Rod Woodson. And now all of a sudden we've had another player from Tennessee after the play was over who comes over and sits down, and Frank Wycheck got up, took a step or two and went back down.
See his numbers today, the leading receiver on the season for the Titans, now with 44 for the year. He got hit by both Herring and Woodson as he made that catch.
Well, Rod Woodson was the guy that delivered the wood. He's of course, Rod Woodson, he's only got 57 career interceptions. #1 active player in the NFL in that respect. 8 Pro Bowls, 6-time All-Pro, team of the century, team of the millennium, team of the whatever, you name it, Rod's on it.
9 touchdowns with interceptions. It ties the NFL record in that category.
And 14 years out of Purdue, and last year in his 13th year made the Pro Bowl for these Ravens. How this guy's only gone to the Pro Bowl as a corner, as a safety, as a kick returner. Not a lot left for Rod Woodson to conquer as far as football honors. Frank is up and over on the bench.
The Titans, since the first quarter, had the advantage, and there's the reason. McNair's arm, and another completion to Derek Mason, hit immediately by Chris McAllister. Close to another Tennessee first down. It is.
This offense dormant for the entire third quarter. Now all of a sudden really having some spark on the arm of Steve McNair. Again, we talked about the fact that Derek Mason, primarily a slot guy, now he's getting open from the outside receiver position. Play faked Eddie George, and a perfect strike from McNair. And this is an offensive team now that you can just feel them starting to radiate some confidence.
Titans trying to preserve their unbeaten record here at this stadium. The 2 years, the toss to George, and he fights his way to the 20-yard line. Down at the bottom of the pile, Tony Siragusa with Chris McAllister. A reminder, after football today on CBS, the U.S. national team, including Mia Hamm and Julie Foudy, take on a lineup of international superstars. It's the Women's Soccer Challenge here on CBS. Well, she is a superstar, Mia Hamm. Well, updating Georgia's rushing total, 20 yards now for him in the game on 9 carries.
Only 9 carries today, though. When you look at 34 last week, and then you know that they'd like to get it to him at least 25.
McNair throws low to George, as he had to get rid of it, as pressure from Lionel Dalton and Rob Burnett.
And look at Steve McNair, boy. He's walking right up to his offensive line, and he's doing some barking. And I don't blame him. The minute he gets back to set up in the pocket, he's got 3 Baltimore Ravens in his face. Burnett, Washington, Dalton. Look at it right here. He's got to fight off 3 guys. Well, you know what? Go to the source, Steve. Come on, guys.
Yeah, he gave a pep talk at halftime in the Steeler game last week, too. He's a quiet, mild-mannered guy, but he's got some bite as well.
Oh, good for him.
3rd and 5. Scrambles. Throws to Wycheck. Hit immediately at the 13 and driven back by Ray Lewis. But it's a first down for Tennessee.
Boy, and I think there's a good look at Steve McNair and how he has evolved as he moves into the really prime years of his NFL career. The great mobility, but he doesn't just blindly take off with the football. He moves, he buys himself a little time, and then look at that soft little ball he delivers right to Wycheck. You don't need anything spectacular, you just need a first down. Move the chains.
Now George. And pushed out of bounds after a solid run by Rod Woodson as they went to the short side, the weak side.
Well, it's the toss, the turn, the toss, and here comes Eddie George. No lead blocker out in front of him. And this is deceptive speed as Eddie George gets around the corner. 6'3", 240 pounds.
6 yards on the play for George. 6'3", about the tallest running back in the league. That's how many have compared him to Eric Dickerson, that straight up high knee style.
Dickerson never went 240. That's the difference.
Same play. And he's close to the 5-yard line. We'll bring up 3rd down and a 1.5.
Yeah, Dickerson never went 240, but Eric George can't run as fast as Eric Dickerson. When Eric Dickerson got by that first wave of tacklers, there wasn't a defensive back in football that he could not run to the end zone.
Yeah, you only have to shut your eyes just a little while to see that picture.
And can't you? I can see Eric Dickerson run in my mind, that distinctive straight up and down style of his. Magnificent.
Third down and a short 2. Neal and George behind McNair. George cuts back and runs right into Adams, and he may have fumbled. And it is covered by Tennessee. Ooh, that nervous moment for fans as Adams and Siragusa pinching in on George, who fumbled in the first half, a costly fumble. So Jeff Fisher sends on Al Del Greco to tie it.
It's a toss to Eddie. This time it's a toss to the right, knowing it's, but he just has nowhere to go at all, and that ball is way out of there. And very fortunate for Tennessee. There it is. Look at the ball. One of the Ravens had his hands right on it.
Kevin Long, the center, able to cover it. Here's the short field goal by Del Greco. And he jams it through, and we have a tie game. 17 all with 8:23 left in the fourth quarter. High game in Nashville at 17. That was a long 86-yard drive in 12 plays to tie it on the short field goal by Al Del Greco. The punter, Hendrick, kicks it off. And Corey Harris, who owns a restaurant here in Nashville, is the return man. Patiently waits for a slot and takes it all the way out to the 37-yard line. Tackled by Terry Killens. 8 minutes and 12 seconds left in this fourth period. It's the Baltimore Ravens 17, the Tennessee Titans 17. Baltimore's Grand Canyon-sized tackle is back. Jonathan Ogden, his ankle heavily taped. Starting from the 37, Dilfer. Down he goes on the rush from John Thornton. Thornton, the defensive tackle, his 4th sack of the year.
Dilfer doesn't have, he's able to set, but only if something is open immediately. As the pocket collapses around him, Thornton, Kurtz comes in late, ends up on top of Dilfer, and that's left guard Edwin Mulatalo, who's still down. And it's a hobbled Ogden at left tackle, and now Mulatalo is down.
The left guard.
And now the strength of the Baltimore offensive line on that left side now becoming a little suspect. There he is, second from the right. Let's take a look at it, and he's going to get rolled up from behind. Jason Fisk rolls right up the back of his legs. So Mulatalo is getting it on one side, and about 10 yards away his quarterback is getting leveled. Jonathan Ogden has been nursing that bad right ankle. That's Ogden's right ankle. You see he's got a heavy tape job on the outside of his shoe to go with the one that he has underneath.
Baltimore has one of the latest buys, not till December 3rd. And Ogden mentioned to you he can't wait for a whole week to rest it.
Yeah, he could have. This is a team that could have used a bye in the middle of the season to get some of their people healthy. Unusually late. Here comes the crowd.
3 sacks by the Titans today. 2nd down and 17. It's Lewis finding some daylight. Runs right by tacklers and then fumbles the ball and he catches it and recovers it. Oh my, you couldn't do that if you tried. If you gave him 100 more chances, he couldn't do that.
I can't believe I just saw that. First of all, Jamal Lewis breaking tackle after tackle. Keep in mind, this was a 2nd and 17. He breaks tackle. He gets away from Javon Curse at the line of scrimmage. And does he get hit or does he just throw it out himself?
I think he just throws it away here. Yep, just kind of.
Well, I'm not sure. It looked like Randall Godfrey got a right hand on the ball and popped it up. But let's see, I think Godfrey gets his right hand. Yes,
yeah,
right there.
Does.
And he knocks it out, but amazingly, Lewis gets it back. That's miraculous.
And a 30-yard gain to the 40. He gets it again and plows for 6 to the 34-yard line. Denard Walker made the tackle.
Well, you won't see this happen very often. First of all, the converting of the first down and 2nd and long. Watch that right hand. there it comes right up, right on the tail of the football. Randall Godfrey, the middle linebacker of Tennessee, knocks it loose. And Greg Favors sees the ball. Everybody sees it, but so does Jamal Lewis.
96 yards now for Lewis. George only 28. 2nd and 4. Lewis trying to get outside. And a flag down, and it appeared to be holding on Shannon Sharp at the point. Greg Favors went down.
And when you talked about the point, not only at the point of attack, but about 2 yards in the backfield where there wasn't another player within 2 or 3 yards of Shannon Sharp. Everybody had a good view of that.
That allows all the officials to throw their flag. They feel good about that. And everyone.
Holding, offense number 82, 10-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
It's a majority penalty.
All right, here's Shannon Sharp right here, working on Greg Favors, number 51. And the reality of it is there's no way that Jamal Lewis gets around that corner without Shannon Sharp grabbing and dragging Favors down to the ground. That was hardly what you'd say a play away from the happenings on the field.
So it becomes 2nd and 15, back to the Titan 45 as this sellout crowd of 68,000 plus back into it. And Lewis met with Priest Holmes, met in the backfield by Joe Salavea, the defensive tackle from Arizona. Now Priest Holmes no chance to advance. In fact, he loses 3 more. And of course Edwin Mulatalo out, and Kip Vickers has moved into that spot.
Well, not only will the Ravens here have to battle the Tennessee Titans, they got to battle with the 68,000 people in this stadium right now.
So Mulatalo now comes in, Vickers out. 3rd and 18 against 6 defensive backs. Dilfer. He won't get away from Curse.
No, he didn't get away from Curse, but he didn't do anything stupid with the football either. Trent Dilfer was smart with the football. Nobody to throw it to. This isn't the end of the world. You're going to punt it. Tennessee will get the ball deep in their own territory. Now that is a veteran quarterback. Give Curse credit. He gets in there, but that was a smart play by Dilfer.
Richardson's punt. And Mason takes it at the 10 on the run. And he is hit hard at the 18-yard line. Now the Titans have the ball. 4:27 remaining in the 4th quarter. It's tied in Nashville. And a reminder as we look ahead to next Sunday, there's our lineup. A late game, the Jets at Miami. Dan and I and Bonnie will be in New Orleans to see the 8-1 Oakland Raiders, or at least 8-1 going into this weekend. It starts at noon, NFL Today, with the Jim Nantz Ball Club in New York.
Well, Eddie George hasn't been a factor in this game yet. There's still time.
Wycheck, the tight end, in motion from the 18-yard line. McNair. Incomplete on the run, too tall for Derek Mason. Bonnie?
Dan, you mentioned that Eddie George not having one of his Pro Bowl days, in part because of the Ravens' nice defense, also in part he's kind of had a turf toe that's prevented him basically from running, from practicing all week. He's obviously on some painkillers, but also has this insert that's going in his shoe. It's a carbon fiber insert, and basically it prevents his shoe from flexing as much as it usually does, and he's hoping between that and the painkillers just to make it through the game.
That plus a painfully tough defense from the Ravens.
It's of course, Eddie said, you know, maybe I won't have to practice the rest of the season. He kind of lit up when he talked about that.
McNair hit, and the pass is deflected, so there's no way that they could call grounding there because Rob Burnett was there to fly swat it away.
And Michael McCrary had him around the ankles, and McCrary wanted a sack. McCrary wanted to whistle the blow that he had McNair under control, but in reality he didn't. There's McCrary, got a hold of that one ankle. But Steve McNair, again, such a strong presence in the pocket, able to stay upright and get the ball away.
Contrast to the volumes of noise that you hear when Baltimore has the ball. So very quiet now as McNair brings him out.
And if Tennessee does not convert on this 3rd and long, Baltimore again is going to get good field position. Tennessee has to take a timeout.
And that'll leave them with 2. It comes at the 4:16 mark. Now a chance to pause and reflect on the development of this game as the Ravens started hot with a 14-0 lead, and Tennessee scoring just before the halftime, the final seconds on a pass from McNair to Neal to make it 17-14. The only scoring of the second half, Al Del Greco's short 23-yard field goal here in the 4th quarter. Monday night on CBS, who let these dogs out? And why did these regular guys become street thugs? To get the answer, you've got to watch the funniest King of Queens ever, Monday on CBS.
Well, Tennessee got Eddie George running on the last drive. Curiously, here with over 4 minutes left in the game, they went to 2 passing plays on 1st and 2nd down, and now put themselves up against the wall a bit.
3rd and 10 from their own 18. And McNair from the shotgun. We haven't seen much of that. Chased out of the pocket. And Boulware forces the fumble. Boulware forces the fumble, and the Ravens have it. A big turnover at the 23-yard line.
Well, that time, the Ravens decided to go with just a 3-man rush. They drop 8. So there's no pass rush here on Steve McNair. He's not forced to leave the pocket. He just goes on his own trying to find somebody open. And what a job by Peter Boulware chasing him down. I don't know if McNair did not sense that Boulware coming from behind him. No, he didn't. He never saw him.
A complete pickpocket, and then Dalius Thomas, the rookie from Southern Mississippi, falls on the football, and the Ravens with a huge opportunity now on the fumble recovery at the 22. 4 minutes left in the quarter. This the 4th.
And there was a look, by the way, at the prevent defense when it works.
Jamal Lewis close to the 20, a couple of yards, and into the arms of Randall Godfrey.
You know, that's a lot of people say, oh, the prevent defense never works. Every time you only rush 3 people and drop 8, you get burned. There was an excellent example of Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator for Baltimore, rushing 3, dropping 8, and making it work to perfection.
And it was also an example of why Peter Boulware, although he's been hobbled most of the year at 255 pounds, you see the closing speed on McNair, and on that blind side, able to rip the ball free. Dilfer, 2nd and 9. Lewis, and the Titans jamming the center of that defense, and yards tough to buy. Jason Fisk and Javon Curse and others. And here are the standings as we start today. Tennessee leading by 2.5 over Baltimore, unbeaten in the division, with Pittsburgh at 5-4. And again, if you're just joining us, the Titans have an incredible record here at this new stadium, Adelphia Coliseum, winning 12 in a row regular season. That is a modern day record. You have to go all the way back to 1920, where Buffalo Americans won 13 in a row. Belfer picked off. It's Perry Phoenix. Phoenix. Can he go all the way? He's got a blocker. Touchdown. The Music City Miracle strikes again. 88 yards for Perry Phoenix.
You know how when you were a little kid and you played baseball and you learned they put it on a tee right there in front of you so you could hit it? I don't know how it could be much easier for Perry Phoenix than this ball he gets thrown by Trent Dilfer.
Now Del Greco's try for point. Hits the upright, no good.
Hello.
He had been perfect all season, 21 for 21, and the extra point hits the upright, no good.
All right, here we go. Trent Dilfer looking to his left all the way. And he just, for some reason, doesn't see Phoenix. Looks like he's trying to get the ball to Patrick Johnson, number 83. And what a job by Samari Roll of coming over and wiping out Johnson. All right, let's look at it one more time. There's Patrick Johnson, number 83, and Dilfer never sees Perry Phoenix, who's got the underneath coverage. Now that time they changed up. The corner was taking the deep coverage. The safety was working underneath, and Trent Dilfer did not see that coming. What a changeup by the Titans in the secondary, and Perry Phoenix gets the biggest play of his career.
So after Boulware forces the fumble of McNair, it appeared that the Ravens in position at least for the field goal to give them the lead, and then the 88-yard touchdown run with the interception by Perry Phoenix.
And let's not
his
forget,
first career interception, by the way. What a way to break in.
What a way to break in. But with 2.5 minutes left in this football game, Baltimore with all 3 of their timeouts remaining and a touchdown on an extra point will win the game for the Ravens. That extra point miss is large.
Here comes Corey Harris. And Harris hammered at the 30-yard line by Bobby Myers. Defensive back from Wisconsin, a rookie, number 32.
As Dick said, Al Del Greco has been perfect all season. A good snap, a perfect hold. He just duck hooks this thing to the left and does not get the favorable boink. Oh, and Al right now knows he has put his club in a precarious spot. Got a player down up
Frank
at about
Chamberlain,
the
the rookie
31.
linebacker from Boston College. It has been hard hitting. We're down to 2:18 left in this fourth quarter. And importantly, with a 2-minute timeout, in essence, the Ravens have 4 timeouts to use. Boy, that'll get kicker talking to himself. Veteran Del Greco, now in his 17th season. He's 38 years of age. And
I know Al Del Greco, the best golfer probably in the National Football League. He wins a lot of those tournaments.
In
One
fact,
of his hottest competitors, Trent Dilfer, on the other side. But you know something? Right now he's saying, how could I have missed a fairway that wide? How could I put it in the woods with a fairway that wide?
he hadn't missed an extra point since 1993.
Al, I can tell you how to do that. I miss fairways with some regularity.
Chamberlain able to leave under his own power.
Well, Dilfer gets a chance to correct his sin in a hurry.
And he doesn't have to hurry. And he gives to Priest Holmes, and Holmes able to get just
late
inches.
flag. Late flag coming in. This is going to be against Tennessee.
Kenny Holmes tackling Priest Holmes, not related.
Incidental face mask, defense, number 78. 5 yards, still first down.
John Thornton takes it out to the 35-yard line. 2:12 left in the fourth. Curse. And Holmes able to make the catch, but for only a 1-yard gain as Curse flying in on quarterback Trent Dilfer.
Key there, when you heard Mike Carey say first down, it wasn't 1st and 10, it was 1st and 5.
Al Del Greco up missing after a Perry Phoenix goes 87 yards with the interception return. Glenn Campbell is going to have to rewrite the lyrics. By the time I get to Phoenix, he'll be in the end zone.
Well, that's exactly where Baltimore is trying to go right now. They got 64 yards to go to Pater.
Underneath to Priest Holmes, and Holmes has a first down and a flag down as Holmes gets it out to the 49-yard line. The flag is thrown back at the line of scrimmage.
I think we'll have a procedure call here against the Ravens.
And that's painful for head coach Brian Billick as he sees the first down erased and the ball dragged back deeper into Baltimore territory.
Illegal formation, offense, number 70, and an eligible number was lined up as an eligible position. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Harry Swain.
Yeah, but it's not Swain's fault. What that means is the receiver who was flanked out to that side didn't get up on the line of scrimmage like he's supposed to. And it exposed Swain, made him an eligible receiver. Don't blame number 70 for that.
Ball at the 31, second down and 9. Dilfer going long. Incomplete, and the flag is going to be, I believe, against Baltimore's Patrick Johnson. He was doing the pushing on Denard Walker.
Well, it sure looked like offensive interference, and that's the call.
So Dilfer goes for the bomb. He had his running back over the middle wide open for what could have been the first down yardage.
Interference, offense, number 83, 10 yards, main second down.
Now, Jeff Fisher's got an interesting dilemma. I guess he'll take the 10 yards, and it'll stay 7. Watch it right here at the end. Right there. He grabs him around the midsection, pushes him from behind. No question about that call. Denard Walker, he knows that that's offensive interference all the way.
Oh, now second and 19 at the 21-yard line. Johnson, the man who committed the foul, is the speed burner. He was a California sprint champion in high school. Priest Holmes in for Jamal Lewis as Dilfer throws now to Holmes, and Holmes to the 30 and tripped at the 35-yard line, 5 yards shy of a first down. And the Ravens call time. And a timeout for Baltimore. They have 2 left. Ball out to the 35-yard line as we welcome those of you watching NFL action on CBS elsewhere. This is Dick Enberg with Dan Deerdorf, Bonnie Bernstein. Those of you who have seen Seattle beat Jacksonville 28-21 to come from behind. And also New England defeating the Cleveland Browns beat the New England Patriots 19-11. Here it was tied 17-17, and Trent Dilfer had the ball deep in Tennessee territory and threw this interception to Perry Phoenix. He'd never intercepted a pass in his NFL career, and he goes 87 yards for a touchdown. And so it goes from Baltimore looking for a winning field goal to Phoenix scoring, although the extra point by Del Greco was missed, and it's 23-17 Titans, who are protecting that unbeaten string here at Adelphia Stadium. They've never lost 12 in a row in the regular season.
And critically, the Ravens picked up 10 yards on that little dump-off pass to Priest Holmes that now puts them in a position with 2 downs available to them to get this first down and keep this drive moving. Again, Brian Billick has seen his team repeatedly hurt themselves with penalties today. And of course, they were in a position to, at the very least, kick a field goal to take the lead until that horrendous throw by Trent Dilfer.
1:34 left in the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 5. Dilfer goes deep for Sharp, and Shannon Sharp is out of bounds at the 29 in Tennessee territory, and that's the combination, Dilfer and Sharp. Sharp over 600 catches in his career. He has 7 today.
And right now, how big does that missed extra point is getting bigger and bigger. Do we have a player hurt on the far sideline? Somewhat of a collection going on over there. What a great job by Trent Dilfer of staying alive, getting out of the pocket. Wasn't rushed at all by anybody in a Tennessee uniform from a pass rush standpoint. And then Shannon Sharp, as always, making himself a target.
7 catches now for Sharp and 87 yards. Well, tonight on 60 Minutes, are you concerned that the vaccine against measles, mumps, and rubella isn't safe for your child? Why don't you watch 60 Minutes? Followed by an all-new episode, Touched by an Angel. Then it's the mini-series everyone's talking about, O.J. Simpson, murder trial. Scenes the most talked about murder trial of the 20th century, American tragedy. It's been well reviewed, a CBS mini-series event, all here tonight on CBS.
The officials ruled that Shannon Sharp was in bounds when he caught that ball. Thus, the clock would have kept running. So Baltimore was forced to take a timeout there. So far from the line of scrimmage, they had to burn a timeout.
How is that?
I don't know. I don't know. But the official, is he going to start winding the clock? There it is. He gives the motion to wind the clock. And boy, I tell you what, I think Baltimore should have had the benefit of the doubt there.
Instead, they lose a timeout. Now they have but one remaining.
He was knocked down by contact inbounds. He went out of bounds. Therefore, the clock should have stopped. Therefore, Baltimore will not be charged with their second timeout.
Mike Carey demonstrating why he is one of the best referees in the National Football League. I'm sorry, Tennessee Titan fans, but that's the right call. That is the right call. Shannon Sharpe was good. It's not like he landed in bounds. He wasn't down by contact. He didn't roll 10 yards out of bounds.
And Jeff Fisher wanting to know the explanation, and Mike Carey offering just that.
Again, take a look at this. Shannon Sharpe catches the ball, gets possession, rolls out of bounds. Nobody touched him. No, there's no way you wind the clock in that situation.
And so the timeout given back to the Ravens. They have 2 left with the clock showing a minute 15 seconds in this fourth quarter.
You know, you are allowed to go out of bounds and stop the clock. It happens all the time.
And so Trent Dilfer with a chance to make amends for that disastrous interception when he was about in this section of the field, as they lost about 8 seconds, and they'll try to correct that with the winding of the clock. And Al Del Greco, who hadn't missed an extra point in 6 years, hit the upright after the Phoenix interception touchdown. And that gives the Ravens hope of a touchdown extra point and a victory. This the noisiest of crowds in the NFL. They're making their voices heard as Dilfer screens it. And tripped up is Jermaine Lewis at the 26-yard line by Perry Phoenix.
Well, and Jermaine Lewis was on his way for some serious yardage. Now Tennessee looks at Baltimore take a timeout. So that brings them down to only 1 for Brian Billick's squad. But Jermaine Lewis, if he's not tripped up here, Dick, this has the look of a guy that's going to pick up some serious yardage. Again, you see Perry Phoenix. Boy, he just got a hand on his right thigh. That didn't take a whole lot to bring Lewis down there, did it?
He's a new star, this man.
That must be one strong right hand he's got.
He's been eating those Subway sandwiches, and the post-game show follows here from Nashville. 2 top teams in the AFC Central Division. The Titans trying to repeat their Super Bowl venture of a year ago, which was highlighted by their wild card playoff win over Buffalo, the miracle of the Music City. And young Perry Phoenix certainly has the miracle interception return for a touchdown here in the fourth quarter today.
I know Jermaine Lewis is only 5'7", 180, but I think he'd like another shot at breaking that little fluff of a tackle that put him on the ground.
Kadri Ismail to the right. Patrick Johnson to the left. Stokely is slotted left and Lewis slotted right. Empty backfield on 2nd and 7. Dilfer has to hurry, gets it underneath to Shannon Sharpe, trying to get out of bounds. Who is he hit? And he does not get off the field of play. Denard Walker with a vicious hit.
You could hear that one clear up here.
And there's the final timeout exercised by the Ravens as Harry Swain holding the back of his leg, the offensive tackle.
And if you've got an injury at this stage of the ball game and you have a timeout left, that injury timeout is a charged timeout. So like it or not, there goes Baltimore's final timeout.
Sharpe with his 8th catch has certainly been superb again. Now has 50 receptions for the season.
There's no way without this injury to Swain would Baltimore have burned the timeout right here with 58 seconds left in this game. Sharpe's going to make an effort to get out of bounds.
Phoenix again.
Yep, Phoenix is there, but then here's that very big hit by Walker, and he is in bounds, and correctly the official makes the motion to keep the clock running. But Baltimore, I think, would have rushed to the line of scrimmage and tried to run a play to try to keep the action moving, but because of this injury to Swain, they have no choice. It's a charged timeout.
The ball rests at the 21-yard line, where it's 3rd and a long 1 for Brian Billick's Ravens. Jonathan Ogden limped off in the second half.
This is Harry Swain over here to the right. He's the right tackle. Let's see if we can take a look at him and see what happens. Working against Kenny Holmes. Well, it looked like his right leg just kind of gave out on him there a little bit. Jonathan Ogden, the other tackles, limping on a bad right ankle. Tough to speculate. What might be troubling Harry Swain.
Yeah, looked like it caught there, didn't it? Spencer Falau will come in to replace him, the 4-year tackle from Idaho. We should go back to the continuing story here with Trent Dilfer replacing Tony Banks as the quarterback for the Ravens. And other than that interception, he's had really a very solid performance. 22 for 33, nearly 300 yards and a touchdown.
This has been a fun game to be a part of. These two, I know we had a heavyweight fight last night, but this has been a heavyweight fight here today.
Some serious hitting, that's for certain.
A little more evenly matched today, and Al Del Greco right now is got a major sweat going, even though it's a nice cool day.
He is rooting for his defense. 3rd down and 1. No timeouts left. Baltimore, 58 seconds. Officially 3rd and 2. It's not that much. Dilfer to the end zone. Oh, Ismael off his fingertips as he tried to make a leaping catch, and Dilfer thought he had a touchdown.
Well, Trent Dilfer had double coverage underneath, so he knows his only chance is to loft it over the top of that, which means you're either going to have a highlight film catch or you'll have the incompletion. That's exactly where Dilfer has to put that football. Anything short of that, he runs the risk of an interception.
It comes down to this could be the big play of the game. 4th and a yard and a half. Timeout called.
Officials timeout. And now they're pointing at Tennessee. Tennessee then would have 1 timeout left if they are charged.
Never did see a formal indication of Tennessee, of anybody pointing to the Tennessee bench and calling the timeout, but they're the only ones left that have any, so it's a pretty good deduction.
Here's Jeff Fisher saying timeout. Let's really think about this. 4th down, a yard and a half at the 21-yard line. A must play for both teams.
Yeah, Jeff can't call a timeout. He's got to get somebody on the field to call a timeout, trying to get the attention of one of his players.
It comes down to this play for the Ravens to entertain hopes of an upset win here in Nashville.
I don't think, if I'm the Ravens, the first down, I wouldn't go to the end zone. Move these chains, and pick up a yard and a half, and then get up there and spike the ball, and then take your shots at the end zone.
Dilfer, and a collision and a flag as he tried to hit Ismael. Danon Sidney, the defensive back, an extra defensive back, with a collision at the 2-yard line, and it's against the Titans.
Wow. Oh boy.
Pass interference, defense, number 37, automatic. 1st down.
This is going to spot the ball at the 1 or 2 yard line, and no question about it. Look at that. Danon Sidney just runs right. Oh, that's as blatant as it can be. And Baltimore really took a chance in going to the end zone again, rather than go ahead and picking up the 1st down, making the play for just a couple yards, and it paid off.
Between Billick and Dilfer, we're seeing some real intestinal fortitude on those calls. Now it's 1st and goal at the 2-yard line with 49 seconds left. Titans lead by 6.
Again, no timeouts.
Jamal Lewis can't get in.
And Billick saying, hurry up, get out of the pile. The clock is running.
You need to get in the end zone. Of course, they're getting little cooperation from the Titans there, and no rush to get up.
Precious seconds, and they'll spike this one. So the clock stop brings up third down with 29 seconds left. Boy, the management of a game, when you look at Billick on one sidelines and Fisher on the other, to get down to a chess match with the game on the line, football is 2 yards away from a possible Baltimore victory.
And Baltimore, Dick, loses one play down here by having to spike the ball because of Harry Swain's injury. That cost them their final timeout that they would still have at their disposal.
Dilfer throws, touchdown to Shannon Sharp. Oh my, another big catch for the tight end Sharp.
And what do we hear from Trent Dilfer yesterday when we talked to him?
Oh wait, it's Patrick Johnson who slips in there. Johnson 83, not 82 Sharp. And it's a man that has only caught 5 passes all year long. He's playing because of the injury to rookie Travis Taylor. Here he is with what might be the winning catch.
But the full rollout by Dilfer, and Dilfer can move. He's a guy that's comfortable out of the pocket, and he finds Patrick Johnson streaking through there. And again, you see the official come flying in here to stop this. This is being reviewed now, we've been told, from up in the box. Remember, inside 2 minutes of either half, it's an automatic review if they want to take a look at it. And I guess they're going to look at the feet of Patrick Johnson, as will we. Let's take a look at it. Johnson, number 83. There's the ball. Well, the left foot was in. From that angle, it's tough to see where he placed the right foot and if he dragged it. Let's look at it here. This ought to be a little more definitive.
Caught it with the right down. There's the left.
Well, from the end zone, all right, we see the right was in. We saw there definitively the right was in. Now let's look at this one, which ought to tell us better about the left.
Right's in.
There's the right. It looks to me like that's run it on through, guys. If we could run it on through, that's a touchdown. I think that's a touchdown. We have to start with the fact that the ruling on the field is a touchdown. Mike Carey's got to see something to reverse that. I don't think he does.
And of course, if there is no loss of timeout here, because this comes from upstairs, this isn't a challenge by Jeff Fisher. So the Titans, if it does go and we wait the extra point to break the tie, Tennessee has 1 timeout left and only 25 seconds on the clock. But they also have the best kickoff return man in the NFL, Derek Mason. This is really quiet now as this sellout, silent as they await the word from referee Carey.
Well, as in all plays, you start with the call.
The receiver's second foot was down inbound with possession. Touchdown.
Not what they wanted to hear.
No, but that was a pretty definitive look that we saw.
Patrick Johnson's first touchdown of the season.
And Al Del Greco hasn't missed an extra point since 1993, is now just a helpless observer.
It's up to Matt Stover, and Baltimore takes the lead. 24-23, the Ravens, and this very vociferous crowd in Nashville suddenly deadly silent.
Again, the rollout all the way by Trent Dilfer. Sees the streaking Patrick Johnson moving parallel to him. And an outstanding job of Johnson getting his feet down. And a team that went 21 quarters without scoring a touchdown. They had 3 last week because of Trent Dilfer's play. And Trent Dilfer again leads them to a 24-point performance here today.
Way back as you look at Del Greco, you talked about Patrick Johnson. Well, here's the miss by Del Greco earlier.
Everything was right. The hold was right. The snap was good, and he just hooks it over and hits that left upright.
Now Derek Mason, who's had a couple of sparkling returns in this game, and he leads the NFL in kickoff returns. He moves up inside the 15-yard line, and it's a line driver that goes to the short man. And here comes Chris Coleman, a wide receiver, just activated, and he gets good field position for the Titans, but only 19 seconds remain.
Now Tennessee does have a timeout, and that is huge. Tennessee's timeout right now is monstrous because a long completion to the middle of the field will give Del Greco a shot. So Steve McNair does not have to just work the sidelines. He has the entire field at his disposal.
And Del Greco's longest this year is 46, but he has made one 56 as his career long. McNair shotgun. 3 wides to the left. Throws to the sidelines, complete to Eddie George, and George out of bounds at the 46-yard line. 13 seconds left. Oh, he must be salivating, Del Greco. How desperate he must want to have a chance to kick the winning field goal.
Well, here they are. They need about 15 yards, Dick. They need about a 15-yard completion to get it down around the 30-yard line or so. That would give Del Greco about a 45, 47-yard or something in that area. And again, critically, they do have a timeout.
Very loose defense, 3-man rush for Baltimore. And McNair scrambling. Oh, what a run by McNair to the 25-yard line. And they stop the clock with 3 seconds left.
Throughout this 8-game winning streak for Tennessee, Steve McNair has made timely plays. He avoids the 3-man rush. Right here, though, is what's really critical. He breaks a couple of tackles downfield and immediately flashing for the timeout.
That was 10 more yards. After Rob Burnett had him, he gained 10 more yards, and that could be the difference with a winning field goal or a missed field goal. Now it'll be about 42 yards. Had he been tackled by Burnett, it would have been 52 yards. This year, between 40 and 49, Del Greco has made 4 of 6.
Al, nobody will remember the extra point if you drill this one.
What a game, living up to all the expectations, and the Titans on the foot of Del Greco have a chance to keep their record pure at home. They have not lost in 2 seasons here. 12 straight if you count the playoff 13, and Del Greco trying to make it 14.
How important was it that Tennessee had a timeout left?
42 yards. Oh my, misses to the right. And Baltimore celebrates. Like a bunch of high school kids, the Ravens on the far side surround their coach Brian Billick. And what a tough late afternoon for that veteran kicker Al Del Greco. Trent Dilfer has delivered.
So Baltimore and Tennessee split their series on the year. Again, it was a good snap, a good hold, and overcompensating for the hook on the extra point. Del Greco this time pushes it to the right. Remember, he hooked the extra point from the right hash mark. Al just doesn't get all the way through it and pushes it off to the right.
Pretty straight, he just pushed it.
Yep, he sure did.
And so Jeff Fisher's unbeaten reign at home here at Adelphia Stadium, Adelphia Coliseum, ends on this November day. Brian Billick's win-hungry Ravens have moved back into contention in the AFC Central. They were 2.5 games out at the start. Trent Dilfer with a pratfall, but it's in a victory celebration. The final score 24-23. Stay tuned. All the scores and highlights coming up. So long from Nashville.